Oh, that's the exciting one. Yeah. Huh? Same one. Yeah, exactly.
Sackers, I'm just putting them
I'm just going to try and sit down because my legs are hurting.
It's too slow.
Lads, honestly, display this.
Right.
In the fucking yoga class.
Yeah. Thank you. Right.
Oh, that feels really tired.
Trying to sit down already.
Honestly, you walked all the way.
Really?
Real injury. This isn't approved.
Wait, hang on. Oh, 300.
Pack it in.
Need to finance some stuff. Who's switching? She's fine.
Got pictures, no? Shall we go live? Now then, afternoon everybody. Welcome to the Festival of the GUKPT Grand Final, starting tonight with a bit of cash. Looks like we're in the building. Can we get some? Cash, 1025 PLO. Is 1025
510? 510 PLO.
How much would you need for 1025? Lots.
You could pull up 2k.
Could you?
Yeah, you could pull up 80 bits, even shorter probably. You could even pull up a grand probably.
We're doing the standing up game to start the proceedings, which is stand up until you win a hand and then sit down.
Yeah, that's correct. So last player standing has to pay every player a £50 bounty, so it does £300 essentially.
So you start off losing if you don't win hand for the first session.
That's exactly right.
Oh, amazing. So we will make sure everything's working, we'll make sure everything's alright, and then we'll get to the action. But as it stands right now, they're all standing up, they're all getting ready to play the game, and we're going to start a session finishing round about 2 in the morning for the cash, and then the Festival of the Grand Final starts in earnest tomorrow with a GUKPT 1250. Looking forward to a fantastic session. We'll give you loads of information regarding what is happening in the next 18 days, because that's how long it is. And the big question is have you got us for 18 days? Let's see that. Back to the table. We'll get to the table. Jay's ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to learn of this fella. Let's get to the table. Enjoy the evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the duration. As you can see in the background, it is the early start, so there's not much going on in the card room apart from cash tables tonight. But this is the start of the festival. Jay, who we got to entertain us?
So I've got the names. I'm not too sure about most of these players, so I'll just have to put the faces to name. We've got Ben Roberts in seat 7, Ewan McNicholas in seat 2, Sakis is in seat 1. In seat 6 is Tom McCartney. In seat 5 is Zach Cheshis. And then we've also got Phil Ward and Mando as well in the mix. So Phil's in 8 and Mando must be in 3 then by a process of elimination.
Indeed, indeed. Good evening everybody. Evening, Scott. Scotty Clarkson, good evening sir. Hope you are well. How's Blackpool this afternoon and this evening?
Evening Katie, Ben.
Evening Katie, evening Ben.
4-5-6 tonight. It is advertised as 4-5-6, probably going to be more 6 card I expect.
Yeah.
We did see Ben pick 5 card first hand.
Would that be a round of each or would that be...
just button choose this, dealer's choice of
really?
4-5-6.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
so
okay.
it wouldn't be a round, it's just whatever you fancy on your button.
Nice one. So we've had one winner who's not paying the 50 to everybody. Good evening one and all, wherever you may be around the world. We are in London. We are ready for the Grand Final. We'll give you plenty of information regarding what is happening for the next 18 days to finish off another season of the GUKPT. Hiya Tim, did we check all the charging cables before we left home?
All good, all good.
All good.
This one's got a bit of few bite marks in it, but it's okay. It's
and
okay.
That's not Alice. How did he miss the wire?
I know. I know.
That's impressive, that. You've taught the cat just to bite the end that it can't get through. I like that. But yes, we have charging cables, we have cat nibbles on it, but at least he's not gone through the cable. Evening, Mr. Dan.
Off we go.
Mr. Dan the best is in the building, looking after the team. Tables full. What do we flop? We've got queens suited.
I'm guessing.
We've got the nut flush draw with the ace, queen, queen.
Just quickly, I'm guessing that's not Tom in Tom's picture. I think you've got the wrong Tom under Tom. It's going to get sorted.
Which Tom did we have? Tom Hall?
Tom Aravara, I think, was in the picture.
Okay.
For
there must be a. There must be just an almost. There must just be a setting just to find the first Tom in the system.
yeah.
It'll be a default setting.
So straight away we're going to have some action here, Tal, because we've got Sakis with the nut flush draw over pair.
Yeah.
Queen's making the nuts with the 2 outs there as well, so he wants to be continuing. Also got a couple of future blockers in there with the 6s, dummy and gut shot, and we've got Mando here with big flop for him, blocking top set, middle set for him, as well as some future blockers himself on the Jack 7-4. Both players with hearts.
So who's going to sit down after this hand? So I'm guessing if they chop it, they just stay stood up.
First board will get to sit down, Tower, in the stand-up game. So if they run it twice, whoever wins the first board will get to sit down whether they chop it or not.
Okay.
So here we go. You can see Mando, decent favourite here. Nice to have just over 60%, getting it in on the flop in PLO, 10 on the turn, 2 on the river. So first one is going to go the way of Mando. Sakis in hunt of a 5 or a queen here, or a heart. And there it is, king of hearts on the river, so they will chop it up. Nut flush for Sakis, and Mando with middle set on the first board. So that one's going to be chopped up, but Mando is the player taking his seat. Won the first board, and Sakis remaining on his feet. How are you doing, Jerry? Good afternoon, Jerry Ricketts on Facebook. I should say good evening. We have just started.
Yeah, early afternoon, late afternoon, early evening.
Still morning for me, to be fair, Tower.
Yeah, 4 to 5 this guy got up.
But all set and ready to go, guys. Any questions, anything related, we'll be happy to clear them up. PLO, I know for some that usually watch the Hold'em streams may go over their head, but always here to help. Anything you just want to ask, you can fire away and try and give my best answer on it. So, folding round to Ewan. Probably going to let this one go. We do have one nut suit, but 4s and deuces, like in 6 card, the smaller pairs, not going to be what you want in your hand. You want hands that can make nuts. Deuces and 4s just not going to be in there. And Mando on the button. Fine to come along and open this one up. We've got a nut suit, second nut suit, 9, 7, 6, 4 kind of working together. However, probably going to be met with a free bet here from Phil. Not aces double, but aces with Jack 10, always nice aces to have. But just going to take the passive approach here. I guess we are 100 plus bigs deep with Mando. Obviously dicey path out of positions. At times we don't flop a nut flush draw or an ace, says Phil, so just going to choose to flat and check.
Jack flop, 3 of spades on the turn.
So no players with spades out here. Phil actually in front here with his Jack 3 and 9 of diamonds on the river.
Check.
So the Jack 3 going to hold, and Mando going to fire this one here with the aces. I'm not sure. Okay, sorry, it's not Mando with the aces, it is Phil with the aces. Mando just firing here with just a pair of 9s and going to get looked up by Phil. Calls it off with the Jack 3. Nice to have that 10 blocker in there, blocking 10, 8 and 10 king.
Why do we get Ewan McNicholas in the stand-up game? Stood in seat number 2. 9'10" of him stood in front of the camera. Evening, Bob. How's things?
Yes, we are streaming tomorrow at Round Straw. We will show you what we have got coming up.
What we got?
So we are on the 30th of November, the top of the list there. We are going to be streaming main event, day 1-8. We start that at 2:30 tomorrow, so we're not going to be in for the first session because it's going to be a later one tonight for the cash game. So that will be kicking off at 2:30, and then we'll have main event coverage throughout the weekend all the way up until Sunday.
Plenty of chance to see that all evening long. We've got 18 days of the festival. We're going to be streaming 10 days of it, the first 5 days and then the third 5 days. So 10 days of streaming, the first week and the third week of the festival. And Andy Wilson's 1 of 6 in the WPT. Where's the WPT being held at the minute?
I have no idea, Tower.
The WPT. I know Prague's going to be on soon.
It's in Vegas, isn't it? Don't the Win?
Is it really?
I swear the
Is
Win.
it part of the Win Classic?
I'm sure the Win have a WPT coming up, or unless it's this week. Sure, Ben will let us know.
Yeah, there is quite a big one on in Vegas, I must admit. And there's also the EPT in Prague and the GUKPT Grand Final Festival going on as well.
So folded round to Mando. The old treble suited aces in the cut-off. Always going to be wanting to raise these up. And not much going on for us here as Mando 7 high flush draw. Zach could have definitely decided to fire here with his Queen 10. Queen 10-9, but chose to check behind and just instant service on the turn. Turns the nut straight. And Mando just sitting here. 7 high flush draw, dummy and gut shot aces here. Just going to have to fold. Like, we don't want to be calling in PLO with hands that can't improve to beat the nuts, if that makes sense. Like nuts there on Queen 10. If we have a hand that cannot improve to beat the nuts on the turn, you just never want to be putting chips in. Looking forward to this one. Hopefully we'll be able to get to delve into some hands, some actual post flop spots as well. Last time we done PLO, I remember it's 25-50 basically, and it was pretty mental. A lot of the chips going in pre-flop, working with really small SPRs post, so weren't really too much post play. So hopefully in this game, the fact that it is a tiny bit smaller might get some more play post flop.
So who's left standing? 3 of us, 4 of us, including Mr. Ben Roberts.
I mean, soon, just for the morale, Phil's going to stand up and put himself back in the mix.
No, I'm thinking about it.
So Ewan's still standing. Seat 1 is still standing.
Yeah, so you and here are kings.
Tom's in the mix.
Not the best kings from gun, but still going to be fine to open here as Ewan. 5, 6, 7. Nice that the 7s are paired. Times that we do.
Triple aces. Triple aces, double suited. Is it a good hand? Triple aces? I know the double suited.
Yeah, I'm not going to be wanting to put a lot in. We've got double suited here. Obviously, the good thing is we're obviously blocking the range that wants to get it in against us. But the thing is with 6 card tower, there's hands versus aces. Like even if we've got good double suited aces, like there's good rundown hands that are still going to have heaps of equity versus our particular hand. And you look at this here. Look, Tom, look at his equity here. It's 75% versus 25%.
We're doing it once.
Phil, in a world of hurt here, going to need to see some diamonds or clubs.
Just a flop. Joseph, Jack 2, 6, 2 hearts.
Yeah, so this is a huge flop for the man without the aces, and that's going to dead it on the turn. There's no aces left in the deck. I don't think there's spades out there.
Yeah.
So that should be going the way of Tom. There we go.
Just the quads.
It's really difficult for me, Tal, because when we go to the flop cam,
Yeah.
the whole cards disappear.
I know, and you've got to remember them.
Yeah, so it's
We can do
I'm
it
used to
stream,
remembering my own 6-card hand, but 12 cards is quite hard. It's quite difficult.
Yeah, if it just goes to the flop, we'll have to pause Twitch just to see the cards. I know what you mean. So streaming will start a little bit later tomorrow because we're running till 2 AM tonight. We're on at 2:30 tomorrow. I'm guessing we'll be on at 10 to 3. Because the first break will be
Yeah, that's when we come
2:30
in
on the
tomorrow.
stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2:30 on the stream, so the break will be until 10 to 3 tomorrow. That's what we'll be doing tomorrow. Looking forward to it. GUKPT 1K, or 1100 as it is.
I feel like this is it's going to be the old toughie, the old 6-card. So Ewan, Ben and Sakis are the 3 remaining on their feet. £50 bounty to pay to every player. They are the last man standing.
Bob Brady watching on Twitch says the WPT is in Florida.
There we go.
And it's in Florida now, and the Wind starts their festival on the 2nd of December, which is the Friday. Thanks for that, Bob. Florida.
There's a Mando here with King's Double. Just choosing to limp this one under the guns. Happy to limp call. You'll see this a lot in 6-card as well. Like in Hold'em, we always talk about we don't really want to be limping. But in Omaha, you will see it a lot more, and it's fine to do in situations when equities are running so fine pre. Like it's fine to limp call parts of your range. Don't need to just work with a strategy that's just going to open all the time. But important to know what hands we are going to be limp calling, what hands we are going to be raising up as well. As we see the Jack 8 Deuce rainbow board. Checks through, ace of clubs on the turn, so Phil turning top 2 here, and once check 2 wants to be firing here as Phil. Very likely, if our opponent had us beat here, he would have led turn, so we're feeling very comfortable that we'll have the best hand, and so we just want to start flushing out equity. Like, it's great in 6-card to just get our opponent to fold. Like, always good to understand that equities should be running very fine in these games, so getting an opponent to fold is a great in itself. I spoke about it a lot on the Luton stream, but like PLO is all to do with 6-card. It's all to do with equity. It's to understand you're looking at your hand in terms of equity and not in terms of your hand ranking. There'll be times where you can have the nut on the turn. You can have the nuts on the turn, but you're actually the underdog in the hand versus like 2 flush draws and a wrap. You're probably like just under 40%, and it's all about understanding that factor of the game rather than looking at it as I've got the nuts here, I want to put all my chips in. No, you don't want to put all your chips in. You want to put all your chips in with the hands that you know are going to have more than 50% equity. When you've got the full nut draws on your clean wraps with nut flush draws and stuff like that, these are the big hands. These are the hands that are going to win us the big pots. Like I see it so many times when you see recreationals playing in 6-card, and they'll get it in with top set in a board where they're actually dog versus wrap and nut flush draw, and they'll be like, oh, I've got so unlucky here. But in reality, they're actually behind. They have the best hand at the time, which you can call it the nuts, but the nuts means nothing on the flop in PLO. It's a completely different game. Always want to look at it in terms of equity and not in terms of your hand ranking.
I like it. That's what I've been going on all these years. Evening, Danny, watching in Mexico. Good evening, Danny. Good evening, Rich. Richard Whitmore. Evening, lads. Good to see you in Blackpool. Good to see you too. Didn't get much chance to have a drink after work. Obviously, late days for the boys, but good to see you, Rich, and hope things are good. And Jim Marlowe watching as always. Says Bowie is in Florida for the WPT. Wonder if they'll bring me back a new Dolphins cap. I need a new Dolphins beanie. I ain't had one for 3 years. I need a new Dolphins beanie. Winning season, the Dolphins. A winning season. Doesn't happen very often.
So Ewan versus Sakis.
Come on, Ewan. Ewan and Sakis, the two that are left. Tom's raised it up.
Yeah, so Tom just making it 100 to go.
Bill gets out of the way. Sakis is in the hand. Ewan has to get out of the way. So if Sakis wins this hand, Ewan's trash, which it was.
Yeah, Mando would like trash aces here. Yeah, we got 10s with them, but just with the 1 suit working and 4 diamonds, just fine to flat these aces here. Out of position.
6 deuce. The ace is still in.
Yeah, this is a spot we can definitely bet here as Sakis. Yes, we just have 1 pair, but in these situations, like basically any 7 through king is going to improve our hand. So we've got half the deck here to turn either 2 pair or a wrap, and it would be the clean wrap as well. The times that it comes off. So Sakis here, although looking at his hand, it looks like he's just got 1 pair, which in PLO isn't actually a very, very good hand. But he's actually got a pretty strong hand here because he's got half the deck that improves him to either top 2 pair or full wrap. So it's one that we can definitely barrel, and does manage to get it through. And Ewan going to be paying a £50 bounty to every player, and will eventually take his seat.
That's it. And now he sits down so we can see from seat 2. The £50 paid to each player at the table. Ewan McNicholas, not the best start. So 5, 10, 25. What's up top for Andy?
Just under 800k. I just looked 788 there.
Wow, good luck.
He's due.
Andy Wilson.
Everyone always says how he's meant to be one of the best, and looks like he's performing on one of the biggest stages. 5 left now, says Ben. So Sakis here in the cut-off, Queen Jack 6-5 double. Chooses to open, which is fine, and both big blind and straddle calling here. Like Zach with these kings in the big blind, one that we do probably want to lean more towards flatting. Like kings double, we can definitely incorporate this into 3-bet range, but it's so much better to have an ace in our hand as well. The main thing with your kings when you're 3-betting, it's nice to have an ace in there because you just want to block that 4-betting range of your opponent at the times that they have aces. We are met with a 4-bet, we're in a really rough spot. So like Zach's decision to flat these kings, although we are triple suited here. Now after flop checks through, taking the initiative on the turn here and choosing to fire with his second nut flush draw. Hoping as well the times that it does roll off a queen or a 10, these are going to be cards that we're going to be bluffing as Zach. Like you should already be making these decisions in PLO. Understanding what are your bluff cards on the river as well when we have relevant blockers. And Tom with the ace jack gets the check mark here, and probably no need to go for value here as Tom. This is one, if we're met by a lead, could potentially mix into a raised bluff range, blocking 2 of the nut bloats, but just going to check this one behind once check 2 as he does, and pot goes his way.
Evening Kev. Kev Blow says, is that Ben Roberts sat in seat 7, a blast from the past? Yes it is. They sat in seat 9 on the table, but yes, that is Ben Roberts. Sat in seat number 9, 7 under the table. Ben is in seat number 7, seat number 9, but yes he is. There we go. Is it going to be 6 card all night? No, they have a choice.
Yeah, it's 4-5-6, Jim, but the only player that's played 5 so far was Ben Roberts. He played 5 on his button.
Yes.
So we might see 6 hands of 6 and 1 hand of 5 for the orbit. But I think the rest of these are going to be opting for the 6 option. And Ben with a beautiful hand here. 80% of Broadway with the aces and double as well. Not aces double to the suit, but still working with a second nut suit. So Ben just going to be opening this one from gun. Makes it 100 to go.
Right around the fill.
Yeah, and in heads-up situations, Tower, we can defend very wide in the big blind, or in this case, the straddle, like equities, should be running fine pre-flop. So we can start defending very wide when the rest of the field folds and it's us left to act. And Phil flicks it in with the king 8-8-6-6-4, double suited.
What's the flop?
And he's opted to lead, so I'm guessing it's a lowish board here, Tower. There's a jack 3 deuce. So working with the gut shot and future blockers here. So I'm guessing Phil planning on firing on 4 turns. Here we go, let's see if this is the case. So we got the 6 blockers here now, and now surely after leading this flop here as Phil, this is going to be a mandatory double barrel for us here with the 6s.
Ben's obviously calling with the wheel.
It becomes a tough spot though for Ben, because obviously in this game the nuts is out there, it's always out there.
And this is exactly the kind of hand you're saying, not looking at your hand but the equity you've got in it, because he's got no redraw with a flush. 5-6 is losing to 5-6.
Like if we're up against 5-6 here, Tower, we're dead. We're literally dead. But with position, Ben going to take one more off here, and
well, that's the flush. But he pairs the board.
So now Phil probably going to slam the anchors on here. We've made the backdoor second nut flush. Could definitely check this one. I think we're just going to happy to show this one down, especially after Ben calls twice as well, Tower. We need to start thinking about the range of hands that Ben can have here, and it does go check check, and Phil going to show the second nut flush, which is good. Personally there, if I'm Ben, I think this is a nice little bluff spot for us. Once checked to the river, we've got the jack in our hand blocking the boats. We've called turn, so we can plausibly have the boats are on the turn, 2 pairs sets in there for ourselves. Definitely one that could have opted to bluff river with there, Ben. It's all about relevant blockers when you're choosing bluff spots in PLO. You want to have hands that not only blocking the nuts, but also going to be good in when your opponent's thinking about your range, the way the hand's played. Like he's going to play a set there exactly the same way, Ben, so we can credibly represent a boat there. And we've also got that lovely little jack blocker in there working for us, but just choosing to take his showdown with the wheel. That second up flush prevails this time.
There's Dan Best in the background. Helps sort out the game as well, getting the regulars involved, as it's the day before the festival actually begins. Plenty coming up this week, and we'll keep showing you on a regular basis what is happening for the next 18 days. If you're planning on coming to London and the Vic, then good luck. The numbers will be crazy over the week. King Seward and Mando initially raised to 50.
Yeah, you can tell Zach plays a lot of PLO, I think, Tower. Like these hands, we've got obviously no immediate blocker to aces, but the reason why these are good free betting hands once in a while is the times that we are 4-bet, we can profitably pill, because most of the time in PLO the 4-bet range is just going to be aces almost always. So these type of hands have really good equity versus aces, and that's why when we do 3-bet these and we are met with a 4-bet, we can actually pill with position and win a big pot versus a face-up opponent's hand, if you like. But on this occasion, Mando just choosing to flat with the kings out of position, and now firing on this 9 turn. Does turn top 2 pair, And Zach here, not with much going on for us here. Middle 2 pair, dummy and gut shot when we can be dead to Jack 10. So just going to have to get out of the way, but don't mind the free bet there from Zach with that particular hand. Cut off versus button, definitely one that can mix in some of the time.
Evening, Sean. Sean Hennessy watching on Facebook. Good evening.
How are we doing, Sean?
Start of the festival with the cash game going on. 4, 5, 6. 6 being the main game at the mo.
Tom going to have this one to open on the button. Kings double suited. Makes it 100 to go. Sakis in the straddle, not going to be going anywhere here. Queen's 10s with Jack 7 double. Just going to be an easy defend for us, and heads up to the flop. Which is 10 high, 10, 8, 6, 2 hearts. So a little bit of action going on here. We got Tom with top pair and second nut flush draw. And we got Sakis here with top set and the nut shot. So I'm just going to take a freebie here. 2 of clubs on the turn. And this is where I expect to see Sakis start leading. We have the second nuts here. We can make the assumption that Tom's not going to be checking back 9-7. So we can just comfortably lead here, start trying to get value from our 10s. And there's the call from Tom. And 8 of clubs on the river. We love to see that as Sakis. River in the nut boat. Now just going to be going for some value here. Like, the thing is, once Tom checks back flop here, like, a lot of his hands at call turn are going to consist of some nut and second nut flush draws. Maybe some Queen Jack 9 in there as well that opted to check behind, not wanting to get raised and get it in without hearts, but just fold in there till a river lead, knowing that can't call off with a 10.
There's the link, Sean, if you want to click on the link. That's the YouTube link for the PLO cash game that's starting the week of GUKPT Grand Final. Four, 5, 6 PLO, mainly 6 at the minute. Zach Chester sat bang in the middle. See number 5.
So Ben from the small, happy to raise it up, makes it 100. Sakis here should be calling. And there is the call. And Ewan out the way, not been able to get involved so far. Heads up between Ben and Sakis.
Yeah. 125, ace 5, 4, flop 2 diamonds.
Yeah, so we got Sakis here working with the nut flush draw, and I just like a call here from Sakis because on 7s, 8s and 3s turns we can start bluffing rather than just getting it in one nut flush draw versus a set here, for example. It's so much better to just flat and potentially take it away from Ben on some turns with our block of 6s in there, or we could just come out and turn the nuts. and going to decide to check this one behind, letting Ben realise some equity for free. Like, it is fine. This is just going to go bet fold. Ben's not going to call this off with a set of 5, so it is fine to check back some nut flushes in PLO and incorporate some checks in, but it's so much better to do it when you have 2 pair as well. Like, it's fine to start mixing in some checks with some nut flushes, because we want those in our range against good players to protect the times that they try and lead river, because if they don't think we've got the nut flush. So the good ones to start checking are the ones that include sets and 2 pairs in our hand, rather than a hand that can't improve, like the ace-10 of diamonds on this occasion. There's no improvement from our hand on any river, so like the nut flushes that are good to start checking back are going to be the ones that incorporate the 2 pair and the sets in their hand as well. But now it should just be a pretty easy fold here for Ben. We don't beat anything.
He's just done. That's when we got the nuts. Cash game to start the festival off. We are looking at this for the festival that starts tomorrow with the main event. Day 1A, 12.50, starting at 12. We'll be on straight after the first break at round about 10 to 3. We'll be here ready for when we start in the second session of the day. Cash out satellite later on the evening, and then the GUKPT Cup.
Yep.
Is a 2-day event.
And we're going to have plenty of giveaways coming over the weekend as well, guys. I've been in the lab for the last 2 weeks thinking up the Tower Thinks question. I have got a corker for this weekend.
I've not even thought about it. Oh.
So lots to give away. Because it's the grand final, I'll drop Tom a message as well, see if we can get a little more than we usually do for all our viewers throughout the weekend. But we're covering the 4-5-6 PLO. I say 4-5-6. Ben's the only man playing 5 card, and here we are. 5 card PLO, and Ben going to open the 5s and deuces double on the button, and Sakis with the jacks and 7s double in the small. He's coming along, and Zach here, ace 10-10 7-5. Out of the way, either way, I think there for Zach. Obviously, if we have the nut suit of our ace and not bear, we're probably going to be continuing, but that's a pretty close one there in the straddle. Like, 10s are a nice hand to have, obviously blocking a lot of the top end straights, potential to bluff on some boards.
Here's 6-9 rainbow flop.
Yeah, and we can still c-bet this one as Ben, and it looks like he's going to come in with a c-bet. We're the opener. We're going to have the aces, a lot of the high cards in our hands, so just going to c-bet that one and get Sakis off the best hand.
Evening, Talia. How are you? How's Luton? And good evening, Cardsmith. Do we know if there's going to be a break in play for Sunday's football? No, the GUKPT will carry on as normal. Not everybody who's going to be playing the GUKPT will be supporting England, even though we are in the capital city. So I'm guessing the only break in play during the GUKPT will be the final, which will be in just over 2 weeks' time. 2.5 weeks' time. In fact, the grand final is on the Sunday when the World Cup final is on. There will be, I'm guessing, discussions if something like a magical England final. Unlucky to Wales as they went tootling on home. Evening, Spand.
The Spand, how are we doing, Andy?
Yes. And Tally's on her way to London, so she's going to be here on Saturday. Come and say hello. But yeah, we'll be here this Saturday. Won't be here next Saturday. And then we'll be here for the 3rd Saturday as well. So here for 2 of the 3 Saturdays. And if we see us, Tally, it'd be good to see you.
And Zach here with the ace king king 10-8 deuce, working with just 2 suits, neither to the nut, but still happy to open double suited kings. Nice that we've got this ace blocker in here as well, blocking aces, so blocking opponent 3-bet range, and getting called by Tom from +1. Tom with the ace queen jack 9 8-8 double.
10-5-5 flop. Which hand would you prefer pre?
Well, on this one, I prefer probably Tom's just because he's got position as well. But Tom just going to take the initiative here now once check 2. And like this is the thing in PLO, like I can tell that Zach plays a fair amount because like he's still c-betting boards in heads up situations. Like there, for example, he's got the 10 in his hand, blocking top boat. So a lot of the time our c-bet's going to work if our opponent doesn't hold a 5 in their hand. Now when you are playing against players that you are aware that are competent and good players at PLO, like there are like times there that we're going to need to call once with our overpairs and stuff like that, because if they are c-betting that board like the 10-5-5 rainbow fairly often, which they should be, heads up as the opener, then we're going to need to start calling wider. But most opponents there are just going to fold like their entire range that isn't 5x or better, and so it's going to be a profitable continue for us, and it just picks it up there nicely.
Keep us informed how Andy's going on, will you, Span, for us? Thank you very much. He's 1 of 6 at the minute. And Ben's watching both live streams with sound on. That can be confusing.
Hold on a minute. Hi Mr Towers, and a big hello from Northern Cyprus.
Oi, oi.
Messi missed a penalty, did he?
Oh. What happens if they draw tonight? Argentina.
It depends on the Saudi Arabia result.
Right.
If they draw and Saudi Arabia draw, Argentina go through. If they lose and Saudi Arabia draw, Saudi Arabia go through. If Saudi Arabia win and Argentina draw, Saudi Arabia go through.
Wow.
A lot of permutations, Sal.
So they can go out as well, obviously, if they lose. He's 1 of 4 and he's got 60% of the chips. Come on, Andy Wilson. Has he got a hoodie on? Has he got a shirt on like Jack?
Yeah, he's literally been in the... I was just looking at it, Tal. Have a look at this. He's been in the Jack... I think Jack's actually lent him his shirt.
Look at that. Jack Hardcastle shirt.
For the run good. He wanted the Hardcastle run good. He's got his shirt on. It probably isn't the same shirt, but it looks very similar. Jumping back into it here. Guessing Phil opened under the gun, and we've gone full weight.
Mando.
2 sets though.
Anti-flopping 2 sets. And still not being... You can still not be favourite to win the hand.
Well, it's obviously a lot better to flop 1 set than 2.
Yeah.
Like if you flop 3 sets in PLO Tower, you're just meant to check fold.
Really?
Yeah, literally. If you flop 3 sets, unless it's like King 8 deuce, but you're just meant to check fold. Right. If it's like King 10, 8, 2 hearts, and you're Kings 10s and 8s, just check fold. Get yourself out of there.
Okay. So we think we can be behind with 2 sets on this board. Well, now we can. I know it's not. It's not 8 the flush, but
it's just check fold for us here now.
Yeah.
Like Mando could definitely lead on Club Rivers with the nut blocker being in there, but now it's just an easy check fold. Like Zach betting on the turn, representing 5-6. So this river not changing a thing. So we cannot be calling this off here as Mando. Like he shouldn't even have blocker 8s here because these aren't going to be firing on the turn. So it's just a pretty easy fold for us here as Mando with these aces. Like we even lose to like some random deuce X with a low card in their hand. I just can't see how we're ever going to be able to call this one off. And there is the fold from Mando.
so we have Andy Wilson, 1 of 4 in Florida for a 900 million and a WPT title. Was Jack's WPT live or was it online? Jack Harkis.
Online, I think.
Right.
I think it was online. Yeah. Yes, Band. It's just a simple scenario. We've got just under 7% of obviously turning quads. It depends on the board texture, obviously, but on the boards. Where there's not much brickage, so not a card that's changing the texture, so the nuts will change on the turn. Like if you ever are lucky enough to flop 3 sets, I would just recommend check folding, except from on certain board textures, ones like King 8 deuce, Queen 7 deuce, so on, where obviously the nuts isn't going to be changing. too often on the turn, but on the boards that are fairly wet, where there's lots of straight draws, obviously the flush draw out there. This game is just all about equity and how your equity is faring within the pot. And if you've got 3 sets, you don't want to be blocking your own outs to boat up, and it's as simple as that. Like on the king 10-8, that was the example I gave, 2 to a suit. We bet the flop. The only turn we're happy about seeing is obviously when we boat up or an offsuit, deuce 3, 4 or 5, and then it's the same scenario on the river as well. So here he is. Pretty card dead to start the session, but he's getting involved here. Aces, 1 suit, 5, 7, 8, 9. And Mando here. Not really a good hand. Should be hitting the muck, but does have position. There is the fold. And over to Tom in the big blind. With the old shablammer, 3 suits, triple suited, so gonna flick in the call. And the Phil here should be calling this one in the straddle. We've got a nut suit, 3, 4, 7, 8.
The Shablammer.
Shablammer. Shablau.
Love it.
King 5, 3, 2 spade board here. So Tom flopping best, top 2 with nut flush draw and will draw, so huge flop here for Tom. We're going to be happy to put a fair amount of chips in on this one, but just checking it over to the original aggressor, who is Ewan, who is going to put the rest of the chips in. Is drawing very slim here though. Going to need to find, can't find an ace because they're both dead, so Ewan's literally drawing here tower. Let me find what he's drawing to. Backdoor 6, 9, something like that. Ewan's going to want to see an offsuit 6 on the turn. For free working actually. Free's working for him. Queen.
Clubs on the turn.
There's no aces left, so he's going to need a queen or a 3 for the counterfeit of the king 5. That isn't a spade. That is the only way Ewan's going to wangle his way out of this one. And it is the 10 of clubs. No ace jack for Ewan. And Tom going to take it with just the king 5, which is good.
Ewan's pulling up.
Australia in second. The top 2 in Group C will be meeting the top 2 in Group D. So at the moment, that is looking like France against Argentina, and Australia will be taking on Poland. Okay, it's time to bring in first half action.
So cash action to start the grand final festival. We'll bring you updates regarding the festival and what is happening on different days. We're here for 2 weekends out of the 3. And that's here Roberto Romanello playing. All he has to do is turn up, stick his name on the list. I'd love to see Roberto back in the card room. He hardly plays anything anymore, does Roberto? Give him a nudge. Tell him we'd love to see him.
So Mando going to limp in here. 7 high run down to the 3 with a jack worker. Just 1 suit though here for Mando. And opted to limp in, trying to see a cheap flop, but met with a raise from Zach and a call from Phil. Sorry, that's a call from Ben. Going to go get out of the way and heads up to the flop here. A jack 10-9 rainbow. So Ben flopping a lovely one here, but I'd like to see Ben just check here, Towie. He's going to lead, but well, we could definitely check over to the aggressor. The fact that we got the ace working in there, we got a 9 blocking some boat outs as well. The only bad card for us on the turn there on the rainbow board is a jack or a 10, literally 6 outs from our perspective, so just around 14% of the time. So better to just try and induce something from our opponent. Like, talk about balance in Hold'em, it's all so important to have some balance in PLO, but just understanding the times we want to check the nuts and understanding the times we want to lead the nuts, and the way I kind of balance that out is sort of check my ones with the redraws that can improve to a new nuts, and then leave my ones that can't improve. That's assuming we're in a heads up pot. I don't know when we'll have the next PLO stream though. It'll probably be leg 1, won't it? Probably be
leg 1, maybe a PLO if everybody likes it, and I think Jay loves it. The insight in what Jay brings. I'm going to start playing PLO online, I tell you.
So you and here,
very knowledgeable.
With the Queen Jack 10-8, 7-7. Chooses to raise to 100 from gun. This is full ring, 7-handed. It's definitely one we could mix into the limp range, limp call, but raising, I guess, never going to be a bad thing either. Mando, with a nice candidate himself. 8-8, Jack 10-9, King double. Just 3-betting to 200 here. Really small 3-bet size. He's going to get rid of Sakis, and Ewan going to have to peel this one now, Tower. Getting this price, can't be folding.
Similar hands, aren't they? Ace Ace 2 flop, 2 clubs. So the nut flush draw for Mando, ace on the turn. So we both turn a boat. But most of the time it goes check, check. We've got the 4 of spades on the river. And checkity. And the 8s will win. And they'll both laugh and joke. You've all got trash. The 8s will take it for Mando. And down to 3 in the WPT. No hand involving Andy Wilson, but he is still one of 3. Come on, Andy. Somebody get a message to him. Tower needs a new Miami Dolphins beanie. He's in Florida. Are we having a side bet on when if the Mad Turk makes the top 30 or not? Another one. I already owe you a drink. I've got to come to Cyprus to give it you. Ace is double suited. Now in flop and nut flush draw. 7-4 Queen, 2 hearts. And the second nut flush draw for Ewan.
Yeah, this is a very big flop here for Phil Tower. Just simply because yes, we got the nut flush draw, but we've also got the 6 working, the 10 working, and the ace working as well. So lots of outs for us here as Phil. But this is not the turn that we're looking for. Queen of spades. And you're now going to find a cheeky little lead here for 150 on the Queen turn. An interesting spot here for Phil. Obviously aces can be good, but the thing is, like, in these situations, if I don't know the opponent, Tower, I'm never expecting anyone to lead here with less than a queen. Like, I just instantly give them credit for a queen, because the thing about PLO, you don't see it too often. You don't actually see players bluff as much as you would in Hold'em, and especially on that turn when it pairs the queen and maybe supposed to be slightly better for the C better, but you're still under turn and just firing into it. And don't forget as well tonight, guys, there's no breaks for us. It's just a full live stream through till 2. So Tal and I will be popping out every now and again for a bit of fresh air.
So 6 card the order of the day at the minute. But they can choose between 4 and 5 if they want to. Queen 10, 4, 2 spades. And a bet. And the win from Mando. Eight, 9, 10 Jack Queen board that Andy wasn't involved in. King 8 for Altman. Well, you had Ace King. Hard to fold a king.
Not when it goes check, raise, call to shove. Check, raise, and then call to shove. So 3-bet shove. Only beat a bluff. I'm guessing the Ace King was the opener, obviously, and Altman was in the big blind. But yeah, maybe that deep with the pay jumps should just be check, call in the river with King 8. But
does that mean there's 4 left? Come on, Andy. The Bowie effect. Chance of winning a WPT in Florida.
Card open from Ben, raise and take. You haven't seen that yet. No. Ben Roberts with the raise and take, first one today.
So cash game's running. We showed you the first weekend of 2. What about the last weekend? When we come back on the Wednesday, we'll have a 10-25 no limit, and then on Thursday we'll be doing the high roller day 2 of 4, 5 and 6. That's the tournament. Friday, Saturday and Sunday we'll be concentrating on the grand final and crowning the champion of the grand final of 2022 on the Sunday. Last year, 1.1 million in the prize pool.
Ben in the hijack aces treble.
What about doing dealt 6 hearts? What's the odds on that, Jake?
Well, to be honest, I play a game that sometimes there's a bonus game on. And the bonus game is if you get dealt quads,
Yeah.
you get £500 from each player.
Yeah.
If you get dealt 6 to a suit,
Yeah.
you get £1,000 from each player.
Wow.
So if they had played the bonus game, he would
Text
have
you and tell him he's just missed out.
would have got 6 bags. So,
Tell him.
but it's very, very hard to do, Tower. It's very hard to get dealt.
You might
6
not
of
see
some
that
suit.
again. Getting dealt 6 hearts is incredible. And I'm guessing they're always in the muck no matter what happens.
Yes.
B-flop.
No, not necessarily. Unless if you got like the 9 through ace, like you probably still get involved. Even the king through 8. Like then these type of high rundowns, I guess we can still get involved. Obviously, not looking for our flush capabilities with the hand.
Slim. Queen 3-10 flop. 7 of diamonds on the turn.
So Ben still with equity to the nuts here, now picking up diamond draw as well. We just want to pump this as Ben. We want to put lots and lots of money in with this one. Get our opponent off of 2 pair, perhaps a bottom set, something like that. Like in these situations where we have a nut flush draw, second nut flush draw, gut shot to the nuts, all the work's going on. You just want to keep putting chips in the middle. Like unless we're up against specifically nut diamonds here, like we're going to be equity favourite even against pocket queens. If Tom's sitting here with pocket queens, no nut diamonds, like we're going to have like 60, between I'd say 60 and 65% here as Ben. So it's very good spot to just start piling money in. Yes, we only have 1 pair, but that means nothing in this game. This game's all about equity. How does our equity fare within the pot? And when you do have strong nut draws on the turn, you just want to be piling the money in. And good to see Ben firing here. And back over to Tom, who unfortunately we can't see his cards at the moment. There is a call from Tom. It's like Tom here, Tower. He could plausibly have some like ace king jack with diamonds. He could have some king jack 9-8 with diamonds or clubs, and jack of diamonds on the river. So Ben River in the 3rd nuts here, and probably going to be wanting to go check. But if Tom is leading here, he's obviously representing a. So this should just be a check here now from Ben. Like I don't think we want to be trying to get value from Queen X of diamonds, especially when the flush is out there as well. But he is going to go for it.
And definitely is.
I just don't think Worse ever calls Tower. This is the problem. I'm not sure if Worse is ever calling in this particular spot, but looks like Tom could have Queen X of diamonds here. I guess with the Queen of clubs being on the board, making that a lot more possible. The time that Tom was working with like a top 2 pair with diamond draw, like the Queen of diamonds could definitely be in there.
Well, we know he ain't got 8-9 diamonds.
Yep. We know he hasn't got ace X of diamonds, so it can only be like something like Queen 10 with diamonds with maybe like a King Jack in there or something like that. But I've seen Ben Roberts play. He's probably the player I know most about on this table via the PLO streams. Done a couple of PLO streams with him on over the last 18 months. But I don't think Ben's the type to just rock up here with the bare ace of diamonds. So Tom's aware of who Ben is. Could see him just letting this go, but not sure we want to be calling off with Queen X of diamonds here. If I had Queen X of diamonds, it probably would have been in the muck about 20 seconds ago. The other thing here, Tower, he may be tri-suited here, Tom. He may have like Queen X of diamonds with another 2 diamonds in there. So the fact that he's tri-suited, making it less likely that Ben has a flush, may be going through his mind. But however, on the flip side of that, in 6 card, there are billions and billions of permutations of the hand.
Thinking that Ben's got 8-9?
No, he would have called quicker. And there's the King X of diamonds, and has to be the Queen X of diamonds, Tower. That's all I can see it being. But
it is. All the chips are in the middle from Tom. Shows the Queen 8 of diamonds with another Queen to go with it. No, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see Tom's hand. I think Mike on the action tracker would have shouted out on him, put it under himself. I think he just showed 2 cards. I think it must have been Queen 8, Queen 9 of diamonds. That's all he showed. He only showed 2 of the 6.
Let's say, for example, in that spot there,
Yeah.
they were like 10k deep. I would have, sounds crazy, but I would have actually shoved Tom's hand as a bluff with the 8 of diamonds blocker. That is what I would have done. Like these are the spots
Yeah.
that I see not a single soul that I've ever played with pick and PLO. Like people don't realise, like on rivers, like when you get raised or someone bets and they're repping the nut flush, that you can now start turning your straight flush blockers into bluffs, because people overfold because they don't think anyone is capable of bluffing there without the straight flush.
Yeah.
So the amount of times I've seen it get through over the years, Tower, is crazy, because people just give you credit for the straight flush and insta fold. And there has been a handful of times that I've run into like ace-x of diamonds with the other straight flush blocker, and obviously I've lost a hand.
Yeah.
But the times that they haven't got the other straight flush blocker with their nut diamond, like the amount of times people fold, I reckon it's probably close to 100% with me. There might have been another occasion where I've been called, but these spots in PLO, when you're really, really deep, and this is where I think the real edge really does come into the game, when you are 2,000-3,000 big blinds deep and you get to rivers and there's still plenty of play left in, and you can start finding bluffs for heaps and heaps of big blinds with straight flush blockers, quad blockers in certain situations where you think your opponent's good enough and capable of folding the nut boat. No one ever thinks that a single soul is capable of bluffing in these spots. So if you can be that unique person that can start finding these bluffs with straight flush blockers, blocking quads and top boat at the same time, and really applying pressure to nuts and second nuts and third nuts, you'll actually see some nice results. A very important factor of that, though, is know your opponent. Like, I'm not going to start running these bluffs versus some random person in the game that's just bleeding off all these chips, is just putting it in wide. You want to do this versus the better players, against the good regulars, against the players you know that are competent and can play PLO really well. Start finding the river bluffs with these straight blockers when you know they've got the nut flush. Start finding the river bluffs when you're blocking quads and the nut boat at the same time against these good opponents, because in their head, and I've been there myself, in your head, when someone meets you with this raise on the river, you just go, oh, they've got it. No one bluffs these spots. So once you start doing that, you'll just see the amount of folds that happen over and over again. Then once in a while, you'll run into a hand where they've got the nut flush blocker and the straight flush blocker as well, the other straight flush blocker. So from their perspective, they've got the nuts. But the amount of times that I've seen it get through, I know it's hard to do. I know it's hard to put tens of thousands of pounds in as a bluff on the river, but I think it's one of the most print plays in the game of 6-card PLO, Tower, personally. Like, one of the most print bluff spots that I've seen over the years, and the amount of people I see doing it, it's like minuscule. Hardly anyone is doing it, and I think it's a great little tip if you are playing a lot of PLO. Probably a tip for some of the more advanced players that have played tens, hundreds of thousands of hands of PLO, but when you're playing very deep against good players, like, you can actually find these spots versus them, and they will fold, and because they don't expect anyone to do it. And I'd fold as well if I was in their shoes and I was met with that tower and I was sitting with a nut flush and there was a straight flush on the board. I'd be like, okay, can't have the bare ace of diamonds, I've got ace-x of diamonds, it has to be a straight flush, and I'd be folding these spots as well. So it's just like, I love the game because there's so much out of the box thinking in 6-card, and I think you can find spots.
It's just
that
thinking you've just got to do like that, though. That's the problem, isn't it? You've got to be competent at it, and obviously your brain's got to work like that sometimes. Is there a stream showing Barry? I guess there is, Martin. I guess there is. Don't turn ours off though. Have them both running like Ben's doing with both sounds on. He says it's rather confusing. Imagine having a few tins of Guinness while you're watching it as well. It'd be even worse then, Ben. But yeah, I'm sure there is, Martin. A lot of people are watching both streams.
So lovely looking flop here for Mando. Got the clean wrap going all the way up to the ace, so just going to want to get some chips in here as Mando. Could have definitely raised this one as Mando, just choosing to flat. Personally, I'm going to be wanting to build the pot here with ace king jack 10 on the queen 9 3 rainbow, but just choosing to flat and does end up turning the stones here. And now just wanting to get chips in. We're going higher as well, so as long as the board doesn't pair, we will have the nuts on the river no matter what. Ben going to call with his top 2. Find the lead, Ben, one time. Find the lead. Right, find the raise, Ben, one time. Like this is just a lovely raise spot here, Tower. Like once Mando bets turn, like we can rule out like set of 10s, set of queens a lot of the time. These are going to be good checks. So the fact we got queen 10 blocking the 2-nut boats as well as queen 9 and 10-9, they become really nice raise spots as bluffs as well. So definitely one Ben could have chose the raise there. But like I say, I see it. I played a lot of 6-card PLO now over the last couple of years, but population just don't raise river as bluffs. Like it's only a minute percentage of people that are actually doing this in the game of PLO, and if you can start incorporating that to your game, you can print a lot of money. But as I say, it's very important to be aware of who you're playing against. We're not just going to pick a random opponent. You need to have a profile on that player, being aware that they are good enough to fold X part of their range. But it is a nice little spot there for Ben. Didn't fancy taking it though. Like just important, like in PLO, like in Hold'em, we choose to bluff dependent on range, and obviously blockers still working for us in Hold'em. Hands that are going to be, for example, blocking the calling range for our opponent in Hold'em. But in PLO, it's kind of the same. We want to choose relevant blockers. We want cards in our hand that are blocking the calling range of our opponent, and obviously blocking the nuts as well. Like very important. We're not just going to choose random raises on rivers. There is a lot of there is a lot more that goes into it. Let's say exactly, Span. People don't raise river as bluffs in Hold'em. Never mind 6-card. There you go.
Would you like a latte?
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Cover water as well, Tower. Have a latte and a water.
Latte, and I've only got 2 hands. Shall I?
You can have,
fetch me on later.
Well, remember how many trips I've done in Blackpool?
Oh, here we go.
Well, I'm owed a few. I'm owed a few runs from the Blackpool.
Latte and a water then. On its way.
So Ben gets the bluff through. But any questions regarding 6-card, guys, fire away. Nowadays it is my main game, probably the main thing I'm playing day in, day out. Around these sort of stakes as well, so it's always good that we got this game on here. But we've got good another 6 hours of coverage for you for this evening. So if you do have anything you want to ask, anything you want me to go over, hopefully I can do so. Just all about equity though, guys. So understanding your hand in terms of equity rather than hand ranking is probably one of the biggest tips I can give you for this game. Like quick example, like 985 2 to a suit board, so 6-7's the nuts on 985 2 to a suit board. So if imagine that the nuts is changing, what is it, 27 outs, the nuts is changing basically 50% of the time. So by the river it's less than 20% of the time that it's still going to be the nuts. On 985 6-7 is going to stay the nuts around just under 20% of the time. And like looking at it in terms of stuff like this would really improve your PLO game, rather than looking at it as it in terms of, oh, I've got a straight. 6-7 on 9-8-5 is a completely different hand to Jack 10 on 9-7-8. Like, it completely changes the equity within the pot, and this is probably another tip. It will just improve your game. Start understanding equities rather than hand ranking. Well, I could probably talk about 6 card for hours on end, but I just think it's a great game, and does wind me up a little pet peeve when people say it's just a pump fest, it's just bingo, you get it in and the best hand wins. When you're deep, I think it becomes a very skillful game, and you never know, we might get 2,000-3,000 big blinds deep come the end of the stream, but we will see. Tao will be back very soon. Binky Winksy just on the tee run. Blue, if it's online, probably no more than 2 or 3. If it's live, obviously just the 1. But there's all sort of little nuggets and stuff hopefully we can give away over the next few hours. Like here, for example, Ace King Deuce as the opener here as Mando. This is a board we're going to have fair C bets on, same as Hold'em, but like, it's a board we don't want to go pot size. Like 2/3 is basically fine on this board. If it was Ace King Deuce Rainbow, we'll probably opt for half. But the way to potentially build sizings in this game is we want to go larger on the boards where the nuts is more likely to change, and smaller on the boards where the nuts is less likely to change. And that's probably the best tip I can give you in regards of bet sizings that we want to be choosing throughout the streets in PLO. So our smallest bets are going to be on the paired board. So Ace King Rainbow as the opener, you can go small as 20% like you would in Hold'em. Like, it's a very sort of Hold'em foundation when it comes to building our sizings in 6 card. But the best tip, rather than going through every different size on every board, is boards where the nuts is more likely to change. Obviously you have the bigger sizings. The boards when the nuts is likely to stay the same on the turn, we want to have smaller sizings, if that makes sense. So unfortunately no hole cards for us here, but 3 of diamonds completing on the turn. And Sakis, like, let Sakis here. Look, I like whatever Sakis got. It's a nice little sizing choice. If he's got King X of diamonds, nuts isn't going to be changing too often on the river. And there he is. He does have King X of diamonds. We can see he had King 10 of diamonds from the camera angle. Very nice. I will try and give you some tips throughout.
Water and a latte.
Thank you.
In one fair swoop. Let me tell you. Just have a quick look at this. Oi, oi, Binky Winky. Binky Winky, just remember.
Is that cracker, Jack?
Hey, that's Friday.
Oh.
It's 5 o'clock. Binky Winks, how are we doing? Yes, I was on the tea run, Binky, your Binks. I was on the tea run for the lads.
You can't listen.
I was on the tea run, so I had to look after Jay while he's doing his unbelievable analysis of the 4, 5, 6. So it's we had to do the tea run. I had to fetch him a latte and a water. You got to keep them malnutrition, these young kids.
So back to the 5 card streets. Ben's button. Ewan here with a nice little hand. Flop the wheel draw, nut flush draw, 2 overcards here. And was the original opener. So going to be continuing like a board, 2/3, something like that should be fine. 1, 2, 5, like the size and choice. And Mando going to call here. And does turn the flush with the redraw to the straight flush draw. 7 of clubs must be dead as Mando is dead in the pot. And Ewan putting in a nice little check here, and this is good from Ewan as well, Tao. Like, this is, I don't know if this is understanding from Ewan or maybe just a good PLO brain perhaps, but the ace king of clubs here is a nice one to check, which is our nut flush, because we're blocking the second nut flush. So like if we had ace jack or ace bit of clubs, like I think we can just go bet as Ewan. But the fact that we got the king of clubs in here as well, it's actually a nice check for us, meaning that it's unlikely that if we do double barrel turn, Mando's going to have a hand that can call down 2 streets. So the fact that we have the king of clubs in our hand as well as the ace of clubs is actually quite an important factor in these spots. Means that we can start incorporating in some checks, because obviously blocking the second nuts, and very rare we're going to be getting 3 streets from third nuts or worse. So nice bit of understanding there from Ewan perhaps. I know works a lot in Hold'em, in the solves, and I know there's a lot of hands to do with blockers and whatnot within the solves and unblocking and blocking, so maybe just the Hold'em brain coming through in the PLO streets there. Gone Tower.
Oh no, just if the Miracle's 7 of clubs, it's the river.
Yep.
Would you be thinking that's a decent card for him with an extra club? I know
no.
it obviously gives us a straight flush.
It would actually be a worse card for you.
Would it?
The reason being is because now with another club on board, obviously making it less likely. We've got 2 in our hand, 4 on board. There's only 6 clubs left in the deck. So our opponent needs six clubs within 6 cards in his hand, 2 clubs within the 6 clubs within his hand. So that makes it very difficult for him to actually have a flush. And we want him to have hands that can call our river bet, if that makes sense, and making it less likely that he has a flush. Flush being the nuts means it less likely that we're going to get called, and as well as that does bring in the straight flush as well, Tower. So we obviously now don't have the nuts from Ewan's perspective.
I just thought the extra club we have in the nut flush would have been a better card for you, and obviously we saw that it would have been a straight flush he would have been up against. Learning all the time, you see. It's what we're here for. Any news on the on Bowie effect? He's 1 of 4 at the minute in Florida on the WPT circuit.
800 bag up top.
1 of 4.
60%.
Locked up a quarter mil.
Andy Bowie. Bowie effect. One that comes
Andy
down the
Wilson.
Coventry with a life for a bit. The glasses, your name. Andy, your name, you said.
Literally not stopping until the strategy. No, honestly, come on.
Look, yeah, that. Look at a man who's fluffed and not flush.
He's 1 of 3.
Whose shirt's that?
Oh, Hardcastle.
He's 1 of 3.
He's to be one of the best players in the UK.
You weren't here. I'll do the run in a minute.
Hour and a half in, guys. We are here till 2 in the morning this evening.
Yeah.
All things PLO today.
So now he's got 200 big blinds. Tower's going to be ordering his supper very shortly. So Bowie's 1 of 3 in Florida. We've got a 5, 10, 25 PLO game going on. What's happening in the World Cup? How's the argy bargies going on?
Mexico need a goal for themselves or for Argentina to go through.
Mexico need a goal.
They're level on goal difference at the moment.
2-0 Argies, 2-0 Mexico.
Mexico and Poland level on goal difference. Argentina.
Are they going to be drawing straws or flicking a coin?
I think they've got 1 more goal at the moment, Poland. So Mexico need another goal. Oh, fewer yellow cards it is, Span.
No way!
Fewer yellow cards, that's a new one.
Is that a real thing? So basically one thing won't be happening is Poland getting any yellow cards in the game. The Mexicans will be kicking at them. Imagine. Imagine going through, she's got less yellow cards. Wow. I know in years gone by they've drawn lots before, just to see who goes through. It's another crazy one.
So Saka's going to limp in here. Just the one suit, but suited to the nuts. 987 working together with a pair in there, and Zach with this one going to be coming along, just choosing to call. Could bump this up after a limp here from Zach, try and get it heads up, increase our equity within the pot, but just going to call and go for way here. And it's 5-4 deuce 2 diamond board, so Zach actually flopping best here in terms of equity, although just working with a pair of jacks and jack high diamonds. And Tom with the nuts, going to be firing. Phil coming along himself with the nuts. And now Zach going to have to get out of the way. So this one very likely to be chopped up. However, free roll
5 of spades turn
has now come in. Phil with the free roll on this 5 turn. And if check 2 here as Phil, I'm just going to be firing away here tower. Potential to get Tom off of the nuts, 6-3 off of chops, potential to get Tom off of some nut flush draws, but he's going to choose to check here. 9 of clubs on the river, so does he improve to a boat? Yes, he does. And now it's going to be check, but it's going to be a tough spot here for Tom, like especially, well, we've got the 6 of diamonds in our hand, but not really too relevant blocker. But the fact that we're not unblocking any of these higher diamonds here could potentially think that Phil is working with a flush draw here, like an ace or king high flush draw. Hands like 6, 7, 8 have all bricked out. However, we have 2 6s in our hand, making that less likely. And also may make the assumption that a boat is going to start firing on turn. So this is actually a trickier spot than it looks for Tom, but he's going to make a nice fold there. Well played, sir. I think with that 6-3 in particular, we do want to be folding it. Maybe call our 6-3s with maybe 4 and 9 in our hand, blocking some of the boats of our opponent. But does make a nice laydown.
Mick the Mod won't be on Twitch till next Monday. He's in Lanzarote.
I forgot how to do the commands.
Can't believe anybody who goes to Lanzarote. Well, I think I saw you in Puerto del Carmen, aren't you? I was there last week, Mick. I was there last week. I was in Puerto del Carmen last week myself, Mick the Mod. Love it. Absolutely love it. There's a bar on the strip at Puerto del Carmen where there's one section closed at 12, there's one section closed at like 3 AM. The bit that closed at 3 AM, there's a band on one of the bars called Question. If you get to see them, they are fantastic at soft rock, classic rock. They are brilliant. The first session they did while I was there was 2 hours 20 minutes long. As a tribute band that played a lot of music, that's a long time to be playing. They were amazing. And they're called Question. If you get to see them, Mick, while you're there and you're on your holidays, enjoy. That's in the tequila bar. Already seen him, the funny guys they are. The bass guitarist is a Scottish fella. And as you know, Mick, all jocks are funny. So the second nut flush draw for Ben gets there on the river. Ben bets £100. We can't see what Mando's got. Unfortunately, we'd raise us to 400 though. So this could just be a slide in from Ben's second nut flush. Does he want to call an extra 300? I'll be very surprised if he does. So he just fold out the way. Evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's coming up. Starting tomorrow, the main event, the 1250. We're going to be streaming that Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. GUKPT Cup on the Saturday is a 2-day event. The mini main is on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. The mini main day 3. We'll be streaming cash on the Wednesday, the following Wednesday, not next Wednesday because we're not doing the middle section. We'll be doing the first weekend, which is now, and then the third weekend towards the end. Show you what's happening at the end of the festival. But it's an 18-day festival. So we're all rooting for Andy Wilson, Bowie Effect, who's 1 of 3 in the WPT in Florida. And we got the live stream cash. And this is the final session. Oh, I thought the hand had finished. Not yet, we're on to the next one. Show you that after this hand has finished. The second part of live streaming, which is the 3rd week of the festival. That is the 3rd week. Wednesday the 14th, the team will be back. Thursday will be High Roller PLO Day 2. Friday the 16th of December will be Christmas Jumper Day. More of that on social media to follow. But that will be Christmas Jumper Day on the Friday. We're trying to find some absolute bonds of Christmas jumpers for Friday the 16th of December. And then Saturday, the grand final day 2, and then the grand final itself finishing on Sunday the 18th of December. Yes, we know it's World Cup final day, not a lot we can do about that. If England are in it, I'm pretty sure there'll be a 2-hour break for the final of the World Cup. But on the assumption they're not, then we'll be carrying on as normal. Phil makes it up. Ace Jack 4, 7, 8, 9. Ben gets out of the way. Sakis gets out of the way. So heads up. 8, 6, 2 flop. 2 hearts. Nut flush draw for Phil. And a pair. And an up and downer. We've got a bit of a wrap going on. Ewan says that is good. No flush draw with a wrap is a nice hand. $5, $10, $25 PLO all the way through. Now we're on 5 card this time. We've changed it up to 5 because Ben chooses 5 cards. Going to get more involved. $6-3 Jack Rainbow. Every now and again we just need to ask the players to spread the cards once in the boxes. More often than not they're picking them up. Ben puts them like that and they instantly snap them. Zach has got them all piled up. Every now and again we just need to ask the players to spread them, baby. Ben, the 2 pair. Is it good? It is good. 2 pair wins. Out come the cards. This will be 6 card. Sakis chooses 6 on a regular basis. They get to choose 4, 5 or 6 on the button. And this is 6. Oi oi Binky Winks, good evening. Has anybody chose 4 yet? No, Ben's the only one to change it at the minute. Ben Roberts, seat number 9, chooses 5 card, the rest choose 6. The pure game, the pure form of Omaha, 4 card. Yep, all doing well, Binky Winks. Hope you are too. We're here for 5 days. We have a bit of time off and then we're back for the second week. 2 weeks today for the final week of 2022. Another season nearly finished. Six card again. Zach. Queen double suited. Queens and fours. Double suited queens. Raised it up from Tom. Aces, one suit. Flop set, 10-2-4. Zach's in for the lot. I think they're only running it once. They've not said anything else. Middle set. 8 of clubs, 9 of spades. So there's the flush. So Tom wins with the 6-7 of spades.
When did this go in tower? I've just got back.
Just now.
Yeah, no.
On the river.
On the river, okay.
Oh no, so sorry, on the flop.
On the flop.
Yeah, flop set. And I think they only run it once. Do I actually like this? I used to play this. 1p, 2p. I do like Omar. I'm a bit of a purist. I'm a bit of a 4 card. Because as you can probably tell, I'm not much of a gambler. But now I know the insights of it. It's not much more of a gambling game than I thought it was. Like when Jay analysed it.
Like I say, it depends how deep you are, tower. Like,
yes.
The variance lowers the deeper you get.
Yeah.
What happened?
Sorry?
How come?
I was just up late doing idiot work last night.
In the lab.
No, I was
Oh.
working out. I was
Shit on those lab guys.
working out a load of action I owed people.
Yeah,
Of pieces I bought that I haven't paid already. Rates I hadn't.
100. Commendable.
Slab work.
It's like a literal slap belt. Play now, 30. 100.
So Ewan opening the aces here, one suit. Yeah, and Zach letting this one go, hand we can peel from other positions. Small blind, same as Holden. Want to be tightest from the small position. Is just as important in this game as it is Holden. But see the wines out tower. Some drinks flowing, which is good to see.
Yep. 8-10 queen, 2 spades.
So Tom defending in the big blind here with kings 1 suit. Ace of diamonds in there as well. But this flop queen 10-8 here. Not much going for both bottom 2 here for Ewan. We do actually have the ace of spades here as Ewan, so potentially one that we could c-bet and continue barreling on turns. However, I'd prefer to be c-betting this with a jack or 9 in our hand at least, so maybe one that we might check back as Ewan. But Tom here thinking about leading perhaps. Okay, it was Ewan had already bet. Ewan had already bet, so Ewan did just continue with the bottom 2, obviously with the idea of barreling on spade turns or rivers.
Where's the dealer gone? I'm in 10 minutes. I've had enough. I'm leaving.
Oh yeah, Matthew, evening guys, nice to see you back on stream. Any straddle action going
well,
on?
you haven't seen us on stream. they've decided we're not being seen this week because we've got makeup on and everything. They're the legs for next year. Leg 1 back here in the Victoria in London, 12th till the 22nd of January. Very New Road, Manchester, Blackpool for 2 legs, Edinburgh, Luton. I think I'm going to Edinburgh for 3 weeks next year. Play golf forever. See how many more cars I can lose. Luton, Leeds, Blackpool, Victoria. It's all going on for next year. And there's a couple of additional events as well. Obviously, we all know about Goliath, but there is one in Coventry in March. If you've not heard the news, there will be a 1 million guaranteed tournament in Coventry at the end of Feb, the beginning of March.
So one should hit the bin for Ewan in the hijack. Mando's out the way, over to Zach on the button. Makes it 100. And we got Phil here with aces, a double. We could definitely bump this up. I'm just going to choose to free bet. Just a quick fold from a Zach.
NLOE, no limit Omaha, 8 or better. Similar to like an L in that, like, you're basically
6, 7, 8, 9, 9 king for Mando.
Yeah, 9-9 run down with a pair in it. A king work up, diamonds work in. Fine to limp this one, I think, as Mando. Like people in PLO mentioned earlier can have plenty of limps pre-flop. Obviously, depending on game you're playing as well. That leaves room for Ben to bump it up here with Queen's double, 1 to the nut suit, Jack 9 working along with it. That's going to bring Sakis in with a nice hand, Ace Jack, 8-5, 10-10 double. Mando's back in after limping, and Phil's going to come along as well with a nut suit.
4, 5, 9.
So rainbow board here, but this is a massive flop here for Mando.
No,
this is
this
and top set. This is as good as it gets. 2 backdoor flush draws. This is a hand where We just want to put lots and lots of money in here.
Do we start
as
piling?
Mando? Yeah, we're going to start with a bet, but we don't have to start with pot tower. With this hand, we can definitely go smaller, like 300, 60%-ish. I think would be nice here from Mando. Like, we don't need to deny equity versus anything here, but he's gone for pot size. Like, the only bad turns for us are really aces and deuces, obviously bringing in the lower end straights, but then even versus those hands, we're still going to be way over 50% on turns to get there on rivers.
Well, it was check. Ace, clubs, 2 of hearts on the river. Sorry, there was no all in. My apologies, Mando was in.
There wasn't all in, yeah, it was all in on the flop.
Yeah, so the 3-6 gets there on the river.
How has Mando lost this one? He's literally fading an ace or a deuce tower this pot.
That's alright, beat that,
and it comes ace deuce. He's faded an ace or a deuce, have both.
Wow. He needs to fade an ace, a deuce, and it comes ace deuce. Oh, Mando.
Oh. I don't know if he's coming back. So our old Mando, it might be man down.
I think there's 2 chips on the table, isn't there?
There's some on the table.
I think you put 2 chips on the table.
Oh yeah, there we are. He's left his earphones as well, so. Yeah, that's just a type of flop you wait for all night long, and you get it in.
Yeah.
You got your opponent drawing literally to 7 outs there in 6 card, and unfortunately just couldn't fade him.
Yeah, not too many props on this table, Matthew, but there was one to start the game. Everybody stood up, and when you won a hand you sat down, and the last man standing paid everybody £50, and that was Ewan McNicholas signed seat 2.
So Tom here, aces, no suits here for Tom, but still aces going to be getting involved and just choosing to raise it up. Makes it 100. Phil going to be coming along with the King Jack Jack 10 8 6 double. Ben gets out the way and Sakis does the same, and over to Ewan here in the 3rd blind. He's had the flush. What are we up to here, Ewan? What? Are they playing some sort of side game here? Quad 5s in his hand and just deciding to bump it up. And versus you and stack size here, Tom's just got an easy pot. Yes, we've got bad aces, but we're just happy to get this heads up versus Ewan now. And there is the repot. And I'm hoping Ewan's hand's wrong. I am hoping that it's wrong, and somehow one of the cards from box 1 have somehow pitched into his box, perhaps. But we will find out fairly soon. I just can't see how this can be correct. Yeah, and Tom's not all in for 2k either here, guys. The pot size bet would actually be 1300, 1350 if you're including the blinds. So it's not an all in for 2k, it should be 1300. And there's the all in. And Phil's folded and Ewan's in. Does he actually have quad 5s? That is the question. If I was a betting man, I would say no, and we can definitely say no now with there are 5 being on the flop. So graphics wrong here, guys. Ewan does not have quad 5s in his hand because there's a 5 on the flop. But I'm going to go ahead and make the assumption he does have a boat here. I'm assuming he's at least got 2 5s in his hand. Yeah, so I have no idea what's happened here with the graphics. Obviously a graphic error. Knew Ewan wouldn't be free betting it with the 7, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 1 suit as well. So not sure what's gone on there, guys. PK's on the case. We'll see if we can find out what happened. 5 of a kind for Ewan.
You're right. I would never want to take that trash anywhere but the button. Keep going. So far, who's the worst at showing the cards? I just want people
Can you
out
see
there.
them all?
Yeah.
Can you see all the
Who's the
cards?
worst
all
at
the
like
players?
RFID in the cards? Oh, me. Those two, the chats. Sicko and Sick Life. Yeah. I mean, like.
Come on, you can see them all now, surely.
Some news about that one, guys. Our action tracker had a problem with Ewan's hand on the system, and he had to input some cards for Ewan, so he just quickly clicked those cards, and that was it. So that wasn't Ewan's hand, as we knew anyway once he free bet. We knew he couldn't have quad 5s. So 5 card, as it's Ben Roberts' button. And not much going on here for either opponent. But Mando going to take one stab. Future blockers in there. Potential to bluff on king 10 or 8 turns. But just gets the job done. Yeah, no, Span, that's in the restaurant. There's a birthday party going on in the background in the restaurant. So that's why it's getting a bit rowdy in here. So folds round to Sakis, going to open ace 10 8, 6 5 deuce on the button, 1 nut suit, so could definitely get behind this one. And Mando with the ace queen 8 4, 3 deuce with 1 nut suit, happy to call in the big blind. King 7 5, 2 diamond board here, so Sakis with the nut flush draw and an up and down working both ways to the nuts as well as backdoor spades. So going to see a c-bet here from Sakis, and goes for 150, so around 70%. Think sizing fine on this board, could even choose a larger one on the king 7 5, but just going to get the job done there and then. Greetings from the middle of the Irish Sea, heading for Boothie Town. We are the Abscess. Good evening to you.
Evening. Oh, have you heard the clapping and cheering in the background?
I thought it was for you when you walked out the
I
booth.
walked in with I walked out the booth and they all cheered and everything. I had to look round. It's a get together of all the staff that have done 25 years or more in the building.
Oh, I thought it was a birthday.
No, there's about 15 staff in there, and they do it every year for them. 25 years or more service, and they're having a good old knees up, and I think that's fantastic. So as we saw the valet walking down earlier on,
yeah,
she's been here 25 years.
Ah, yeah.
Which is why she's in the civvies. It's a great touch.
How long you been here for now?
15?
5 more years.
Oh!
5 more years.
Oh,
Free banquet
get
for
out
Tower.
the gold watch. Greeting from the middle of the Irish Sea, heading for Boothie Town. Oh, he's going to Liverpool. How are we doing, Nick? At least you got the internet, which is good. Internet in the middle of the Irish Sea. Good stuff. Good old Sea Link. Safe trip. I think the weather's pretty calm on the seas tonight.
So Phil with all the aces. Saw him with trip aces earlier. He's found them again. Makes it £100 to go. Only one suit working for us, which is the hearts. And just raise and take. Shows the boots.
Fours 4 to 5, nice easy crossing. Nice one, Nick. Couple of pints of Guinness, watching the live stream, make it go a lot quicker. Are you on the quick journey or the long one? There's a 3-hour crossing or an 8-hour.
What?
Yeah.
Across the Irish Sea?
Yeah.
How does it take 8 hours?
It's a slow one. And you can get yourself a nice little room, get yourself in there, have a kip. For the 3 hours, play a bit of cards, and you're just about there.
Must be a real slow one. 8 hours. What?
It is.
Be quicker on a pedalo, wouldn't you?
Oh, imagine. Yeah. Imagine that.
Should we try it one day, Chow? Me and you across the Irish Sea on a pedalo together. race the ferry.
Oh my days.
So Mando limping the button here. Could open this one as Mando, but limping fine at 2. Like I say, can have plenty of limps pre in 6 card. Ace, Queen, Queen, 2 heart board, and one that Phil expect him to be continuing as the raiser, but decides to check this one back. King of diamonds on the turn. Check, check once more, and 6 of clubs on the river. Phil betting, and just a quick fold from Mando.
Yeah. Shows him 3 of his cards. We're over in Dublin in March. Then the Irish Open at the new venue, the RDS in Ballsbridge.
Need to book that actually. Need to get that all booked up.
Yeah,
you booked it?
Not yet. 3rd till the 10th of April, the Irish Open. Before that though, we've got this. That is amazing. 25th of February till the 5th of March. 1,500 buying, £1 million guarantee. Put on by Grosvenor Casino. Amazing. There's going to be plenty of satellites, hundreds of live satellites. They're going to be having a mini league in the Midlands to win seats for that, to gain seats into that. It's going to be an enormous festival. More of that obviously in the new year regarding what schedule it is, but that in Coventry. £1 million guarantee.
Can't wait for that one.
It's going to be absolutely amazing.
Really good turnout. So Mando limping from cut off for 25. Brings in all the blinds, 7, 8, 3, 2 heart board here. Mando does have gut shot to the nuts, as well as 4th nut flush draw, and some future blockers in there. So here's one we could definitely fire once checked to, and does decide to fire. And everyone going to get out of the way, so Mando picks it up with just a pair of 10s. like in PLO, I think aggression always prevails. Like it's a game, as I keep mentioning, where equities are just going to be running so fine all the time, not like Hold'em, and because of that aggression, if you are aggressive, the fact that you're getting hands to fold that even have 20-30% equity against our hand is a great accomplishment for us. Like, I think this is a game where if you are an aggressive style type of player that you will fare very well in. Just knowing the times to barrel as well.
5, 10, 25, PLO, 4, 5 or 6. We've only had a 5 variation every time it comes round to Ben on the button. In seat number 9, he picks the 5 card, the rest are picking 6 at the minute. Who's going to be the devil and pick 4?
I got Mando here with the King Queen 9, 8, 6, 4 double. Opting for the limp once more. And Zach here. The old quad suited hand. Queen 10, 8, 7, 7, 6. He's out the way. And Phil here with a tasty one, but going to get out of the way. Or a little gap in the rundown there. I thought it was a full 10 high rundown there. There's a little gap. 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. So didn't elect to get involved from the small. And Ben going to make it 100 here from the big blind. And Sakis with the Shablau. 3 suits. King, Queen, Jack, 9, 6, 3. So he's not going to be going anywhere. And deciding to 3-bet this one. And like triple suited hands, Tal, they are good to have in 3-bet range because a lot of the time in these situations we're going to be going heads up. So the fact that we're triple suited is fairly nice. Like for example, if it comes a rainbow board and we do end up flopping a backdoor flush draw on the rainbow board for each of them, we're actually going to make a flush for about 20% of the time on the river, which is pretty insane. Just under. Like here is a rainbow board. And well, Sakis does have all 3 suits. There we go.
3 suits.
All three backdoor flush draws here. But so by the river, Sakis, although this is a rainbow board, he will actually make a flush around 20% of the time, which is a very interesting thing to take note of. Not ever seen Queen of Clubs. The old Queen Eye Paduki. Now working with double gut shot. And Ben going to fire, and Sakis just out the way.
Here's Ken Wong walking around. We'll be playing the main event tomorrow. Had a decent cash in the Hippodrome last week for 19 grand. Final table there, 1k. Who's in seat 5? Zach Chessers in seat number 5.
Feels so quiet today, Tower. Other than obviously the restaurant behind us, but like it's the first time I think I've done a live stream where the festival isn't running yet because it doesn't technically start until tomorrow. So it's just feel fairly quiet around the room.
Yeah.
Usually the outer tables are all filled in the background.
And there's still 10 cash tables going on.
Yeah.
So it seems really quiet, but there's 10 cash tables going on in the club at the minute.
That's a tight lay down there from Zach in the hijack. And Phil going to be getting out of the way.
Yeah, we did ask the question why could they have put a satellite on tonight, but they decided obviously it's an 18-day festival.
Yeah.
And they just thought an extra day, making it 19 days, maybe not, just a little bit too much. So we'll carry on with the cash today, and that's what they decided. And there is a cash out satellite and a double satellite next Wednesday. Ace, King, Queens, 3s. 9-4-5 flop.
Yeah, nothing going on here for Sakis. Ben here flopping up and down and top pair. Backdoor clubs in there as well. We're going to choose to check this one.
There's the backdoor club. There's the clubs.
Yeah, so
top two, nut flush draw. No, sorry, not nut flush draw. if he hits the flush,
like this deep,
interesting.
this deep tower, I'd love Sakis to find a raise here.
Yeah.
We've got the nut flush draw, we've got pocket freeze, we're blocking 3 deuce. Like Ben can't re-raise us in this spot, or we can just make it on the river. But in this spot on the turn, like we should be protected because Ben being the eraser pre, shouldn't really have 3 deuce in there. We should have slightly more, and then obviously we've got the 2 blockers in there blocking the nuts ourselves, so there's definitely one we could have gone raise and then bet river on brick rivers as Sakis, but now he's just going to go for the raise here himself. And Ben loves to see that when he's in there with a nut of butters.
Absolutely.
4-2-5. And there's the re-raise.
There's the biscuit. And now we know we're miles behind. I tried, it didn't work. We'll get out of the way. This is well, I've got the wheel. Can't be calling, sure.
No, we can't tell.
Can't call.
This is just never a bluff.
No.
Like 6s maybe might be the bluff here, but still in 6 card we're not just going to free bet bluff raise here with pocket 6s with their 2 being out there. So this should be a fairly easy fold from Sakis. I'm surprised he actually raised tower. Like if you think about it, what are we raising to get called by? Is a set of aces really calling on ace 4, 5 deuce 9 once we raise? No. So once we raise here with just our will, like we're only getting action from a chop or hands that beat us. So maybe a little bit of a misstep here from Sakis on the river. Could have definitely just called here for 150. Now he's put himself in a bit of predicament. Although I say predicament, it shouldn't really be a hard fold.
I'm on
for
to
him
the
here.
next hand already.
But I think we just want to be flat and Ben's 125 on the river rather than raising here, because when we are raising we need to think about hands that we're trying to get value from. Ace is not going to be calling us off, so next pip up is our hand, the will. So it would have just been so much better here for Sakis to flat call. I know what he's thinking, Tao. He's thinking, I've got 2 threes in my hand. How can you have it? But unfortunately for him, he's only got 50% of the threes in the deck, and Ben working with one of the others with a 6 to go with it. So maybe that's what's going through Sakis' head here. He's maybe thinking, is Ben ever just free bet raising 6s here? But then if you flip it back to Ben's size, is Ben ever really going to bluff? Free bet bluff raise when Sakis can still have 6 for himself, even with pocket 6s in 6 card? Like, it becomes a bit more relevant in 4 card, maybe even 5 card, but 6 card, like I don't think people realise how many more permutations there are of hands in 6 card compared to 5 compared to 4. It becomes exponential once you go from 4 to 5 to 6. Like the permutations in 6 card of a hand to be dealt, it's just billions and billions, and like just because we've got 2 threes in our hand doesn't mean that our opponent still can't have the other 3. And Sakis maybe just falling in love with the blockers here and thinking about calling it off for that reason. I've got the 2 threes. It's very hard for you to have a 3, but Ben just doesn't look like the player that's just going to randomly free bet raise 6s. Like,
And eventually Wang's done in the muck. Razor Kev's on his way down. See you next week for the mini and a few other side events for us, the satellites. How much does he owe us, Kev? I've not seen him for ages.
I don't know, I think
He must owe me half a dozen.
he owes you 6 Guinnesses. I think he owes me about 1.5.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's about right. I think that's... Bring your wallet, Kev. Bowie's got 80% of the chips in play. Come on, Andy Wilson. Come on, the Wilson.
Steve, he shouldn't have even raised.
No.
He shouldn't have even raised, let alone the tank on the river. Like,
that is true.
It's a bit of a misstep to be raising there on the end. Like I say, what are we trying to get called by? Is a set really going to call us on a 4-liner to a straight and 6 card?
Yep.
Never in a million years. So all we do is open ourselves up to that, getting free bet against the 6-3. Like, block has become a lot more relevant. Like in those situations, straight on the board, you've got 2 3s in your hand. They've become a lot more relevant in 4 card or even 5 card, but 6 card with the amount of permutations of hands you can be dealt in 6 card, it is just going to change drastically. So eventually does come to the correct decision though, which is good to see. Didn't fall in love with the blockers and feel. Wow!
What was that folded?
King Queen. Jack 10, 6, only 1 suit, but folded to us in the cut-off. That's a bit on the tight side there from Phil in 5 card. Leaves room for Sakis to raise a nut suit. Ace Queen 9 8 deuce. Ewan comes along with double suited 9s. Ace Queen 6 working with.
8 Queen 3 rainbow. A lot of Paducah flops today.
So top 2 here for Sakis, and just going to be happily continuing here for 150, so just shy of 70%. And in 5 card here, heads up with position. I'd like to see you and call once here, Tower. Although stack size is a problem actually here.
Yeah.
We're not as deep to maybe be pulling this one, so actually could fold. But if we're like 2k deep here, we should always be calling here as you and. But looks like still is going to call. Reason being, obviously, we've got top pair, we're blocking top set, we've got them 9s in there, so jacks and 10s turns, we can start bluffing our hand, and as well as that, we still can have the best hand in this heads-up coup, blind on blind. But this 6 on the turn could spell trouble for Ewan now. Does turn 2 pair, but going to be met with another bet here from Sakis. But although our hand improves here for Ewan, well, he is just going to put it in.
Call.
The problem here, like, we are blocking the Jack 10 9. That's the bluff on this board. The Jack 10 9. We have 2 9s in our hand, so a lot less likely our opponent's going to contain that.
No 3s in play.
But did turn the 2 pair, and now just puts it in. I think flop. Maybe we can fold just because of stack size. I think with deeper we're just always going to be calling that one with position, but Ewan was just happy to get it in after making queens and 6s.
So plenty going on, as we know, and these are the figures for next year. January, February, March, May, June, August, September, October, November, December. Events in between. Plenty going on, and we're back in the Vic 12th till the 22nd of January for leg number 1. Looking forward to it. Razor Kev says it's 3 guineas, 5 star and 4 rums. I need a night off to drink that lot. Or is that over the week? If that's over the week, that's alright. What kind of prop bets do you do, prop games or prop bets do you do when you play?
It depends what game I'm in, Tal. Like, the main one that I said to you, if you get dealt quads, £500 from each player. If you get dealt a flush, £1,000 from each player. But that's not on every time. That's only on in certain games.
Yeah.
And then just normal, like, £100 pot folds, every dealer change, stuff like that. Just little bits of fun to spice the game up every now and again.
What's my Mackey's order? My Mackey's order would probably be a big tasty when it's on. I don't really follow Mackey's. Mozzarella sticks I like.
The best, do you know the best thing from McDonald's?
Oh, and a chocolate milkshake. That's the best thing for
No,
Mackies.
full fat Coke. They do the best Coke ever, McDonald's. I don't know what it is, but the Coke from McDonald's is the best tasting Coke you'll ever get.
Okay. I do like a big tasty, and I'd have to say a chocolate milkshake. The McCrispy. Not tried that one product. Not tried that one. The McCrispy.
Never even heard of that one.
Is that a chicken one?
Probably.
You can't have a crispy burger. You can have a crispy chicken burger. Pinky Wink says I've better Coke than McDonald's, but it costs you 40 times as much. Oh dear.
How we doing, John? No, it's not been fireworks. Everything's been pretty standard. It looks like a lot of these guys play a fair bit of PLO, so everything seems normal so far. Zach choosing to free bet here with the old triple suited aces. Working with 3 nut flush draws, but that's not the flop we want to see. However, we'll still have the best hand as long as our opponent don't contain a queen in his hand. So c-bet small on this one. Queen deuce deuce 300. I think half's fine on this board. Goes even smaller, opts for quarter. And it's just a scenario. It's a good understanding of Zach. Like with this c-bet here, it's one of these situations where Sakis is just going to be continuing with Queen X or better. Maybe something like Kings with a diamond draw once in a while versus this side. But there is the call from Sakis. 4 of hearts on the turn. So Zach wants to be continuing with the check now. Once Sakis pills here in position. Yes, it was only quarter pot sizing, but obviously 6 card can still plausibly have some Queen X here. But now that Sakis checks back here, maybe he is working with a hand like Kings here on this occasion. Kings with diamonds, just call him once. I think that is what we're likely to see once he checks back turn, unless he is working with quad queen specifically. But I think it's very likely to be Kings with diamonds now once it does go check check. And Zach is going to take this with the 3 aces. Queen, Queen, King 10, 8-5 for Phil. Happy to defend this one in the straddle. Unaware of Sakis or Mando's holdings, but we know that Phil's got the nuts. Don't like having this 8 in our hand here as Phil, but fair looking flop for us. We love the turn though. 7 of hearts, bringing in the nut boat for us and choosing to check once more. And there's the bet here from Mando. And like, these situations are really intriguing. Once the button checks back, the flop on Queen 8-7, like, we can start excluding all sets and probably Queen 8 from Mando's range. So a lot of the times the best hand he can actually have here is Queen 7. That's probably the best hand he can ever have in this spot. So the thing about this, against really good players, if they're aware of how you're playing and they're aware that you're only firing on this flop with sets or top 2, they can then start check raising some bare queen X on the turn, getting us to fold like most of our range by the river. Like even queen 7's going to have a horrible time calling a turn check raise and then a pot bet on the river. So like the best players will mix in some checks, even multi-ways with their sets, with position, as well as some top 2 and stuff like that. But population, just from what I see, would always bet a set there or a top 2. So what happens is once they do check back and then it's checked to them on the turn, on a board pairing turn, you can then just go after a large percentage of their range with a check raise and then a pot size bet on the river, knowing that they're never going to rock up with queens full, eights full, these type of holdings. Like we can range them as having the best hand as queen 7 there. Like it's something that I don't think a lot of people think about in these type of scenarios, but that's just against most players that play this game. Against a really good, the tough opponents in PLO, they'll make sure they have some checks with top set, all the 2 pairs, just same as Hold'em really, just balancing it out, making sure that we will have any hand in any given situation, just making it really difficult to play against us. How are you doing, Tom Aravara, final tableist our last event. Just won the 2K sat online, looking forward to coming down once my exams are over. Good luck in your exams, we will see you for the main event. Blair Toast, but I'm saying that they can never have pocket 7s. Like, people just wouldn't check back on Queen 8-7 Rainbow. Only, like, I can only come up with probably a handful of players in my head that I know that would have checks on this board with sets. But population would just never have checks. They'd always bet their sets once checked to. So quad 7s just isn't going to be in there. And they'd also be betting their Queen 8. So that wouldn't be in there either. So it's little things like that, understanding who you're playing against. Like the average, like even the average, the good players in 6 card, like they'd still be the same. They'd just always be betting their sets, always be betting their top 2. And then that just means the times that they do start checking back these type of boards, the board pairs on the turn is checked to them and they fire. Like it's very hard for them to have the nutted boats. Very difficult. It's very rare that I ever see it in the 6 card streets. Obviously this is all based on assumptions, but that's what poker is, isn't it? We're trying to make do with the information that we've got about the opponent and how the hand's played. But maybe just trying to enlighten you guys into some of the bluff spots that we can find in 6 card. Not just make the best hand and get all your chips in. There's other ways to make chips in this game, believe me. So Ewan, trash holding should be in the bin. Mando limping in the cuff and Tom out of weight on the button. Phil with trash kings in the small. Doesn't want those in the muck. Could have definitely called for £15 more even with trash kings, as Tom, Ben and Sakis haven't really been too aggressive, so I think a lot of the time we are going to get to see a flop with our kings. But I guess folding from the small never going to be a bad thing. Obviously the position we want to play the least hands from in 6 card. Jay, what are some of the biggest differences between 4-5 and 6 card you think the population underestimate? It's a good question, but I think in 6 card people maybe overvalue their blockers too much. Obviously because, as I mentioned, so many more permutations in 6 card of a hand dealt than there are in 4 card, and obviously the blocker effect isn't going to work as well in 6 card as it would in 4. Simply because obviously less permutations of hands being dealt across 4 cards and 4 card, and a lot more in 6 card. So maybe people bluff with blockers a bit too much in 6 card. I think the other thing is just in 6 card how the equities are running dependent on your hand. Just understanding how our equity is working versus the nuts in any given situation. So for example, on the turn on a jack, that's jack 7 4 deuce 2 spade 2 heart board. Like if someone's got pocket jacks and it's gone mad action around the table, like you want to be treading really cautiously. You don't want to just repot it and get it in. Like you need to understand against like an 8 9 10 6 5 with a flush draw, it's going to be a decent equity favourite against our so-called nuts on the turn. Like I don't really like using the term nuts in PLO except from on the river, because like yes, we have the nuts in terms of hand ranking with pocket jacks on the turn on that board I've used an example, but we're actually behind versus some stronger holdings that may only be ace high at the time because of how that equity is running versus our particular hand, if that makes sense. And I think once you get to grasp with that, looking at the game in terms of equity rather in terms of hand value, that is when you will see a real improvement in the game of PLO. Like I'll try and roll off another quick example for you, but there's certain boards like 9 3 deuce rainbow. Say for example on 9 3 deuce rainbow you've got the king queen jack 10 8 7 and you're wrapped round that 9. Like around 55% of the time you're actually going to turn a clean wrap to the nuts, so you're going to have 15 outs on the turn go into the river that would actually make you the nuts. And in 6 card equity goes up slightly more in hold'em because you account for the 6 cards in your hands, so there's slightly more of the deck accounted for. So this is actually a big draw to have on the turn. It's around 40%. So the fact with that hand, it looks like a complete whiff. It looks like you've just got king high, no pair, no draw. But in terms of backdoor equity, you've actually got literally around 70% of the deck to turn yourself a clean wrap for 15 outs to then make the nuts by the river. Like little things like this when you're really deep, floating these hands with backdoor flush draws in position as well, and then barreling the times that we do turn our wrap, or maybe even raising. Like it's these type of things that I would think would make you a really, really good PLO player. Just start looking at the game in terms of equity rather than in terms of your actual hand in any given spot. And that's probably one of the best tips I can give you. How are we doing, Alex? What are the rules of this? How many cards do they have to use to make a hand? So it's 2 from your hand and 3 from the board. So they have to use 2 from their hand and 3 from their board. From the board. Just standard no limit hold'em rankings, Daniel. So it'd be exactly the same as hold'em: royal flush, straight flush, quads, full house, so on all the way down. And he's heads up. Bowie effect. 1 player away from 800 bag. Knocked out Chad. Aces versus jacks. What a lifespan. Who gets aces free-handed and someone has jacks? How are we doing, Schlevlin Poker? We are on a 30-minute delay. So the phone's on the table. Obviously, they can't get any live information. We get the pictures fed through to us on a 30-minute delay, and then Tara and I commentate on those pictures live. So I think Phil going to be leading on a lot of turns here once Ben checks back. 10-7 deuce, 2 clubs. We've got second pair and we've got clean wrap. Obviously no clubs in our hand, but still 5 card. Happy to be barreling this one on most turns, especially a 7. We're turning trips here. And like Ben can still have kings and aces in this particular spot. Like we're not just going to instantly give our opponent credit for a 7. Now Phil opting to check here, and this is a spot that I'm just talking about. I'd love to see Phil just rip it in here, just because we're 5 card. What I spoke about on the flop, like if I'm Phil here, I'm making this 4K. I'm literally making this 4K simply because Ben's check back flop. He should never really have 10-7. He should never have 10. So he can't really have any of these hands. So we've got a blocker 7 in our hand, and we just go after all the nut flushes that Ben can have here with his overpairs. After Phil postures like this, he's not going to be doing it, I can tell you that. But these are the bluff spots that I'm talking about, just thinking about the way hands played. If Ben's got 10-7, he's going to bet flop. If he's got a set, he's going to bet flop. So once he calls our turn lead, he's very weighted towards aces or kings with the club draw. But it's actually rivered pocket 4s, as you can see. So that is the boat he made. But I still think the check raise would have got 4s out of there. And didn't opt to go for it on that occasion, Phil. But hopefully just giving you guys some understanding and an idea of when we can pick bluff spots in 6 card and what relevant blockers we need in our hand to be able to do it. But Phil just not choosing to take the spot there. I think if he did, though, we would have seen it work. 4s not blocking 10s, not blocking 10-7, so I think we could have definitely seen that one get through, but I don't see it. And I said on stream earlier, I don't see many people doing it. Hardly any. There's hardly any coaching stuff out there on 6-card PLO. You go on the internet, there's just literally nothing out there for 6-card PLO. So basically everything that you do at the table is just from experience, things you see, things you try that are working really well, and just continue doing it. As Tom finds a nice one from under the gun. A bit annoying that we're double tri-suited here, but still going to be opening decent kings. Yeah, not Rob Adams. I did mention earlier as well, it's important as well to know your customer. Like, this is where I think I gain my edges versus the very good players, because they're thinking players, and they don't expect people, like I wouldn't expect people to be bluff raising rivers in PLO. You just never see it from hardly anyone. So once you take that factor into account, once you do get raised, a lot of the time it's just going to be the nuts, and people just overfold and they start calling basically just the very top of their range, the nuts, sometimes the second nuts. And obviously we're not just going to start raising against some TJ type character like Terry Jordan, for example. If he was playing, we're not going to take these lines versus him, but we're going to take these lines versus the good competent players that are thinking players and that are capable of folding. I'm not just saying take the spot every time. You want to be able to play a profile and understand what players are capable of making these folds on rivers and what players aren't capable of making these folds on their rivers, and then progress from there.
I didn't realise it.
Yeah, Tom asked a very good question here. I'll jump back to that in a sec as we see the Ace 7-6 rainbow board. So we got a lovely little hand here from Mando. We haven't got the clean wrap, obviously. We prefer the 10 in there, but the fact we've got the future blockers with the 9s in there, meaning that can be clean some of the time, unlike another opponent is holding a 9 in their hand and just completes it on the turn with the 10 of clubs. Also with the club redraw working for him as well. So probably just happy to come out firing here as Mando. And that should be the end of the hand. Like, I can't see Ewan continuing here, although we can't see his whole cards once he checks back flop. I guess he can have some bear 8-9 himself. Like Ace 10 should be folding. It's basically like Ace 10 with picked backdoor clubs picked up that Ewan's going to be continuing with here. But looks like Sakis is going to take one off here with his top 2. Does have improvement in terms of Broadway. The times that an offsuit king rolls off on the river as well. Oh, and there it is. King of Spades. Love to see it from Sakis' perspective. And there's the all-in from Mando, and a snap call. Was very short, so can't blame Mando for that at all. Just seeing his stack size 280 behind, working with what, just under, well, around 0.3 SPR, just under. So just went with it, trying to get value from sets perhaps, but just runs into the Queen Jack. But back to your question, Tom. In a very high level game, would 4-4 have to call river given how he doesn't really have better hands after betting and getting raised? And it's a good point you make, Tom. But the thing is, I played so much live 6 card over the last 2 years, and I just don't see it. I just don't see people raising these rivers as bluffs. Even the good players, even the players that I'm playing with in games that I think are good, competent players and are winning in the games, I don't see them making these moves. And I know what you're saying, it's probably the best hand we get to the river with, so you have to call it off. Maybe 7-4 actually. 7-4 is probably the best hand we get to the river with, that checks back flop. But I see what you're saying, but I'm a big advocate in just overfolding, because I just don't see enough of these raises on rivers as bluffs in PLO. It's just so rare that I ever see it, unless it's me saying to my opponent, you're good, and I'm the one spinning the 6 cards over as a bluff. It's a good point you're making. If it's the best hand we get to, we obviously probably need to be calling, but the flip side of that is people just don't bluff raise rivers. You play a lot of Hold'em, you probably know in these live Hold'em fields, if someone raises you on river, it's very rare that it's a bluff. There's only a few players that, well, a lot more nowadays I'd say, but there's obviously certain players that will never have river raise bluffs in Hold'em, and I think PLO, that pool of players becomes even more minuscule. So I do a lot of overfolding on rivers. If any people I'm playing with obviously watch this, I'm probably going to just be getting check raised the hell out of now in PLO, but I see where you're coming from, but I'd still personally fold it, just simply because our opponent can still have the 10-7 checking in flow, he can have the pocket 10s playing in flow on the flop.
I'm here, I've not gone home. I had to go to Mackey's to see what these McCrispies were like. No, I've not. I haven't.
Yeah, Chase, I think it's print. Honestly, in relevant spots, I'm not saying just literally check raise every single river in 6 card. I'm saying check raise in the spots where our opponents played a hand in the manner where it's very unlikely they can have the nuts or even the second mutts, and we have relevant blockers in our hand that are blocking that part of the calling range. If that makes a bit more sense.
Evening, Tom. Good to have you on the last stream, Tom Alavara. And everybody else. Are we still 3-handed in the WPT?
Heads up.
Heads up for the WPT title that's going to have to come home in an extra suitcase. Come on, the Bowie.
Exactly, guys. It's all about knowing who you're playing against. Like, player profiling and everything, I think, in 6 card as well. Same as Hold'em, knowing who you're playing against, knowing who's capable of what. But if I've got, like, the nut flush on the river and there's one straight flush out there and I bet for value and I get raised, there's probably only 2 people I can actually think of the top of my head that I might contemplate calling after a while, because I know they may be one of these few people out there that will start incorporating some raises in with the straight flush blocker. However, against everyone else I know that I've ever played 6 card PLO against, you just see a snap fold from me. I wouldn't even contemplate calling with the nut flush, only losing to the straight flush, because no one is capable of pulling that bluff. And this is where I think you start gaining really nice edges versus the players that are winning in games and are really good when you're playing super deep and you can put them in some really grim spots, and they'll know in their head they haven't seen these spots ever been bluffed, and they'll know because they've played thousands of hands that when they call in these spots they just get shown the straight flush almost always. So don't get me wrong, it is very tilt when you put in a huge bluff raise with a straight flush blocker and you get called by ace bit of diamonds with the other straight flush blocker, but it happens. It's going to happen some of the time. But it's a great game, and I just love 6 card because I think there's so much more to it than what people make out.
It goes up, it doubles every round. It doesn't get.
No. That's the same. Jack, calm down for now. We're also doing standing round. Come on, man.
Sorry, give me can't be you twice in a row.
You're in good standing after the last one. I know, that's not it.
If you win the pot, you win that.
If I win the pot, yeah, so I'll be going after it, man.
You're the only one who can win it.
No, other people can win the actual pot. I can only win this.
If he wins the pot. And then when it gets, it's like boring, and then it gets big, and then
Yeah, but then it gets big, and then it's almost like, oh my fucking god, this is the greatest game we've ever had in our life. Someone said it's wine away from me. No, does it start?
£50 on the table for everybody who's left standing at the end. Everybody stands up, they play the £50 when everybody else has sat down, but the person who is left standing at the end. Ewan McNicholas did it to start the game off. He was last man standing, which means he had to throw everybody £50. And you'll have to let me know what's happening with Chandler, because I don't actually know. Not heard anything, I must admit. Let us know, not Rob. And the problem we do have is that Ewan McNicholas stood in seat number 2. He's 9'3", and when he stood up doing the stand-up game, we can't see. So up they go. That one. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Ace Jack Jack. 40% of a royal. Check, 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 check. 2 of diamonds on the turn. Checking again. Flush draw. The nut flush with the king of hearts. Ben's going to take the king 3. So whether he is in it or not, he is going to win the hand with the king 3.
What the hand you were about to win? Sit back down. Ben does not.
And he stands up to 60.
This is on the.
So Ben's now sat down. He was involved in the hand. He stood up, and he's dead. He's now sat down again.
How much wine has Bill had?
too much, mate. You're gonna have to.
So Ben Roberts wins the first one. Well, I've not heard any news. I'll try and find out from a few of the locals. Oh, that's not true, but if Shams was about, well, let us know.
I might do. Phil said he's going to ask me. You got a ticket?
I've got 2 tickets. I think my friend's got the other one. But they're on resale.
If we do hear anything, obviously, with one of the old timers playing for 30 odd years in the Grosvenor Casino, we'll let you know.
So 3 hours into this one, guys. We got 4 more hours of coverage.
4 hours
through till 2 in the morning. A little bit late start for us tomorrow. We're going to miss the first session of the main event, but early levels for that. 200 big blind poker.
We'll be here for 2:30. 2:45 the live stream will start. Straight after the first break of the 12:50 first session. So Ben Roberts won the first hand. He's sat down.
That's the weakest link, not including myself. What do you? Oh, you got some. Oh, you're gonna start winning, bro. I started on my grinds with Renegade.
So last man stood up pays the table £50 per person.
There's a Tom here. King's double. 2 suits to the king, but with the 10s working with it. Happy to open from cut off, as you should be. And into Ewan's third blind. And Ewan going to be bumping it up.
Yep.
With the boots.
He says, I'm not doing it again, being last man standing.
And like in this situation, as Tom, we got position. I personally just like a call tower. I know we can see Ewan stack size, but we don't have an ace in our hand, so very likely that Ewan could just have aces here, and we don't want to get it in as dog, although equities will be running fine.
Ace, king, deuce, 2 diamonds.
But we are not getting away from this one now. The fact that we have the second nut flush draw to go with our second set, and we're not loving life. But Ewan continuing for 200.
Second set, redraw.
Yeah, Ewan sizing, nice choice here as well. I like the third on this board in a 3-bet coup.
Tell you what, the queen of diamonds on the turn would be interesting.
Yeah, so Tom plays a lot of PLO, I'm guessing, as well, Tower, knowing that we should just be calling here because Ewan's range does consist of aces in the 3-bet range, and the times that he doesn't have aces, we're way ahead of him, so it's one of those situations we're either way behind, needing a diamond or a king, or we're way ahead with our second set and nut flush draw. So good to see Tom just flatten here and not just insta getting it in. Just realising, like with the block of 10s as well, not really too much to deny equity from. With the nut diamonds to go with our second set, and now Ewan going for the second street. And we're not loving life here as Tom, but I think this is just going to be a side get in tower, and there we go.
Yeah, they're in. Aces, set of aces, set of kings.
So Ewan fading a diamond.
I think it was a double. Missed the river card, unfortunately. The graphics disappeared. The graphics have still disappeared. Don't know what happened there. But the chips are going to Ewan. So set over set.
And he'll be taking his seat.
And he'll be sitting down, thankfully. He says, they're not in that 300 arm, sitting down quickly. Get me down, he says.
Very low table for a lot of tall guys. Yeah, by the way, Pinky, it's a spread and pat if you want your card to be seen the best.
I'm not fussed about the meeting, to be honest, mate.
Why do you think we suffer?
You shouldn't have to worry.
Well, you can.
I love standing up. Oh, yeah, 5. I need to only have 5 cards.
It's only 5. Jesus. You're well played, mate. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
To come back from
top set.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that to come back from death. And the flush draw.
Ben making it 100 from the button. Back to 5 cards. Sakis with Trash should be getting out of the way, and does. Ewan 10's 1 suit, is still a nut suit, but still probably want to let this one go as Ewan, and does. And over to Pinky in the third blind. Jacks with 1 suit. Pinky. Oh, we lost Mando, and Pinky's come to the table. I'm just going to let him have that one. That's what you want to see as Ben when you're playing the stand-up game, raising tape. No one battling versus him for that one.
Why is Ben still stood up? He's 1-2. I'm sitting down. There we go. Evening, Fizz.
Hi there, Mark.
Oh, you will. So Pinky slides the garden. Does he not know it's Christmas jumper day in 2 weeks' time? Got to remind him.
Was it Primark on Oxford Street again this year?
Running down Friday morning.
All turn up in the same. So Tom, raising from the gun. Ian calling in the small, and Pinky going to come along. So, okay, Kings. And Zach's in as well, 5-way action first time today. Sakis and Pinky won't be flopping a set though. Both of each other's outs.
Zach's. I think you just said, can you just stick them into the middle, which he has done.
Queen Jack 8, 2 club board here. And Sakis does flop the nuts. Little redraw as well, going higher with the kings in there. Queen of spades on the turn. And Pinky now with the check mark. And Ewan going to come out firing. Pinky just going to be calling here with his Queen 8. Everyone else should get out of the way.
Yep, unless there's a Queen Jack available. Ewan's got Queen Jack, then he's calling.
Well, very unlikely now, Tower. So Ewan weighing up his options here.
Talking about 450.
Yeah, and Pinky not loving live Tower.
That's all, not in the slightest.
475 from Ewan. I'm impressed that Pinky's actually thinking about this one. This is by no means a snap here. Like Ewan probably never, well, we block 8s ourselves, and wow, he's going to fold the Queen 8. We'll never know, but wow. Pinky lets it go.
Is the 9-10 of clubs in play? Is it in play? He's laughing his head off. He's not going to show us. He's shown 1. He might have shown a lot there.
Hopefully Mr. McNicholas found a bluff. We'll never know.
Didn't get to see it, unfortunately.
But this goes back to the point I was talking about earlier, Tal. People that play a lot of PLO and have played thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands a hand at it, they know that on rivers a lot of the time, like, it's very hard to call without the nuts, and they will start overfolding second nuts, third nuts in that example there, and that's why I do think in this game aggression really does prevail when you're deep and you do get to river spots and you do actually think about the hand, what hands our opponent can have, and start finding some bluffs. And I just think they work so much more in Omaha than they would in Hold'em, simply because, as I mentioned, people are just overfolding. And that may change in a few years' time when more 6-card PLOs played and people start adjusting and whatnot, but right now, just from what I'm seeing from population, people get check raised on the river, they just immediately give you credit for the nuts. Tom here, ace is just the 1 suit in the third blind. Just happy to call here and see a flop. Jack 10-8, rainbow board. Checks over to Sakis, 2 of clubs on the turn.
Why is Ewan stood back up again?
I don't know.
What's happening in this
he's
game?
getting something out of his wallet, it looks like.
Right.
10 of spades on the river. So ace 10 for Tom. Says he's good here, but may not be because Sakis is still in the mix. And this is a different scenario. We got an easy fold here from Tom. Like, yes, Sakis shouldn't ever have a straight here. Queen 9's going to bet flop once check 2, but Jack 10 plausibly in there for him, as well as hands like pocket 8s, pocket jacks that will go for value on this river. Jack 10, 10-8, all this stuff. Once check 2, 3 times can definitely go for value, and good to see Tom just letting this one go. And yes, we have the 10 blocker, but this is one that we're not going to choose the bluff raise, or shouldn't have in the bluff raise range, because Sakis can have the jacks, he can have the Jack 10. So not a spot that we would ever choose, and just a good fold there from Tom. And Ben going to get out of the way himself. Not much doing for him with just a straight blocker and a jack.
Oi, says Sakis. Sits down. 4 left. Fizz is in the town where it's 1 road in, 1 road out. Norwich. One of the worst football grounds to get to ever. And Rotherham United are playing in the FA Cup at Ipswich, which is just as bad, which is next door.
That's a derby, ain't it? Is that their derby?
Ipswich Norwich, yeah. Ipswich Norwich, yeah. Always used to be on TV back in the day when they were both in the Premier League or Division 1. There you go. Norwich tonight, Ipswich tomorrow. Delightful. The kebabs is in the building.
Ben going to be limping in. The ace queen 10 8 8 3. And Sakis here. A little bit of a loose one from hijack. Once under the guns limped, but happy to make this 1-2-5. Like in this game 6 card, we want hands that can make nuts, like nuts a lot on rivers, like ace king, queen jack, good hand to have, we're regardless of suits, obviously not straight out there, high pocket pairs, aces, kings, queens, where we can make nut posts, and obviously suited ace x where we can make nut flushes. Like, getting involved too much with these type of hands, there's just obviously times where we can flop a big draw but be dominated by a bigger draw, if that makes sense. But Sakis happy to get involved after just showing the bluff, maybe playing the momentum. And now Ben going to take the initiative with his...
Yeah, Phil turns a set as well.
Second set.
With a small flush draw and an up and down straight draw. That looks like the king of diamonds. King of hearts. So 8's full, 2's full. And he makes, so he's going to make the call, is it? I think he is. Nah, he says he's not making the call.
I want to sit down.
He wants to sit down, he says. Well, you won't be. You were still stood up with £500 lighter if you call. He's not calling. No, he's sure, Ben. No, that's it. False.
Yeah, good fold from Phil.
So Ben gets the pot, and Phil still stood up, and he shows him. It shows him the 8s. Who has a Christmas party in November? Who do you work for?
Joe, what? I know that some Christmas parties are in January now because it's cheaper to have them in January than it is during December. So they actually have them in January to save on the cost.
I slightly understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand November at all. It's only just been bonfire night. And they're having Christmas parties. Oh, it's tomorrow. It's on Friday, which is the 2nd. So you're hungover today after your work's Christmas party that's on Friday. That's starting early. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday gig for old Ricky Kebabs.
Sakis loosened up a bit the last 20 minutes or so. Ace King 9654, definitely one we could just mark under the gun, but want to get involved. Obviously suited ace in there. So off to the flop. We're going 4-way here. Tom comes along as well in the small, and Zach on the button and Phil in the big blind. Unfortunately, hands for Zach.
The chesses
not showing.
No, a couple of times on box 5, 6 clubs turn.
Yeah, now Tom leading. Once it's checked for on the flop, we make the assumption that Ace-Jack's just going to be the best hand, and most of the time we've actually turned a set as well. So we just want to flush out all this equity in here that would still have decent equity versus our particular hand as Tom. And don't know what Zach's got here, but from our perspective we should have the best hand in terms of hand value. Maybe not in terms of equity, but Ace-Jack should be best here once Zach checks back flop. And Jack of Diamonds on the river. That is just a delight to see for us as Tom. Zach never going to have us beat in this spot. The problem is we're blocking a lot of hands that can DP call by. We've got the 2 6s in our hand. So I might opt for a small size in here as Tom on this river. But does opt for the pot size bet. And it's a quick fold here from Zach. In these situations where we've got the ace, the jack and pocket 6s in our hand as Tom, when we are blocking a hell of a lot of the calling range here, hands like, well, we can't have 6s, but hands like jack 6 perhaps, jack 7, I think opting for a smaller size potentially can be best, but just opted for the pot size in there. I guess we obviously have to balance that out. We're going smaller size with some of our bluffs as well, so maybe pot just going to be fine as well.
So it turns out Mark's got his Christmas do Friday, which is the 2nd of December,
yep.
And he's going to be playing the Cup hungover. That's what he meant. Thanks for sorting that out. Thank you very much. Enjoy your Christmas party, and we'll see you
at
over the weekend. Hungover. We'll see you crawling through the door. So is Pinky still stood up? Yes, Pinky is still stood up. He's just resting his legs. He's been stood up that long.
Yeah, and Tom here with aces double, Queen Jack 7-4 as the workers, but always going to be raising this one on the button once folded to, and Sakis going to defend in the 3rd blind. So heads up between Tom and Sakis here, and the flop Queen, Jack, 10, Rainbow. So aces blockers in here. If I'm Tom, going to be small bet flop, probably big bet turn here when the board texture doesn't change. It does go for the small bet, opts for third, loves the sizing choice. And Sakis does have the 9-8, so he's going to call once. But let's see if Tom can find the pot size bet on the turn on brick turns. And 2 of hearts here. Gonna just be firing again here now as Tom. We don't have hearts in here, but we do have the top 2. So if I'm Tom here, just start targeting some king 9, some 9-8, some sets as well with the aces here. And there is the double barrel from Tom. Hopefully it is the pot size, well, close enough. Just under 325. And now Sakis in a real tough spot here with 8-9, and just going to have to let it, king 9 even, just going to have to let it go, knowing that he's dead to ace king. And just really good understanding there from Tom. Love the sizing on the flop, love the choice to size up and go near pot on the turn.
Cyrus has called us out for being massive midget.
It is quite midget.
5, 10, 25, PLO, 4, 5, or 6. I want Ben to pick 4. If you don't pick 4 this hand, can you run to the table and say next time it's your button, can we have 4? And then I'll get you the tea, or the coffee, or the pop.
Tea time,
or the water.
Tea and water time.
Get you.
Really drive some action.
Until 2 AM, the live stream. Obviously, if the table breaks before 2 AM, we will obviously work it out accordingly. There's 12 cash tables going on at the moment here in the Vic, so I'll be surprised if it does fold. These guys are playing pretty well. They're all having a drink together and they're laughing a joke as well. Fun table.
Yeah, nice hand for Zach. Aces double, not to the nut suits, but 1 to the nut suit. Jacks and 4s working as well with it. Phil coming along on the button with the king, queen, jack 10, 6-3 double. Sakis with the shablau in the big.
Is that 2 danglers?
Gonna, what, 2 danglers?
6-3
double dangler. I've never heard it before, Tal, but we can try and make it catch on. King, queen, jack 10 double dangler. As Sakis here got a really nice hand to put some money in the pot with here, but
a lot.
This is obviously one of the problems when we are met with a 4-bet as we are here. We're gonna probably just want it's just annoying that we got the ace in our hand. We know now that Zach's basically just always going to have aces, so it's a bit of a tough spot for us here as Sakis, but looks like he's happy to get it in. He's got a lovely hand. The ace queen 10 8 7 6 is actually a really beautiful hand. We got great board coverage on most board textures.
10 9 flop, 10 6 5.
Yeah, we've obviously got 3 suits as well. And it's
the bombers.
Oh, counterfeit on the end. 10-7 was winning, and we get counterfeited on the river, and I think the aces are going to take it. There we go. Zach gets to sit down, but not only that, scoops a 3.1k pot. Sorry, he doesn't, because we're going again.
5 8 6, jack on the turn.
And counterfeited again. Is that 5 on the river again? No?
What's happened there?
It's the same 5, isn't it? It can't be the same 5. They've got to run the river again, surely. What's happened there? Oh, he had jacks. He had jacks anyway, Zach.
Oh, right.
Jacks were good enough.
Was that a case of the last card could have counted Sakis, couldn't it?
What? I've never seen that before. Ah, okay. They're doing a community river because there's not enough cards.
Ah.
Right, okay. What we usually do in 6 card, if it all goes in pre, we just run it twice, 2 boards, no burns. That's what we usually. That's what we do. But obviously, Sophie maybe has to burn. I don't know the rules here, but maybe there has to be at least 1 burn. So, community river. Thanks for that, Mel.
Nice one, Mel. Change of dealer. Would you like a drink, sir?
Yeah, I'll have a tea and a water, please, Tower.
2 drinks again.
I've got to keep the vocal cords moist.
All my Blackpool runs will be done in 1 day, so.
No chance. But we are here at the Vic, guys, until Sunday. Main event coverage starting tomorrow all the way through till we crown a champion Sunday evening. Then it is a 9-day break for Tara and I, and then we'll be back the following Wednesday for the Hold'em cash game stream, followed by the grand final main event coverage throughout. Tonight, as you know, PLO cash game stream, just a smaller one, a little 510, not as big as we usually do here at the Vic. Any questions regarding PLO, even if it be as simple as how many whole cards from your hand you have to use, to anything else, is probably my main game these days. So here to help, happy to give any advice. So if you do have any questions, guys, you can just plug it in the chat box. Span says Bowie 1 card away from victory, hold the baby. Oh, the river gave a chop pot, he says. 1 card away from being a WPT champion. He's still favourite, I'm sure, though, Span. And we don't have whole cards, but we do have an all-in and a call. Pinky is all in here versus Phil, so the last 2 remaining in the stand-up game. So not only is one of these players going to get scooped, but they're also going to have to pay a £300 bounty out, £50 to each player.
Who's lost? Nobody yet. Come on, Pinky. Bowie's 1 card away from victory, and the river gave a chop pot. He's got a 10-1 chip lead. Come on, Andy Wilson. Come on, the Wills.
So it's actually a 3-way all in here, and Phil's just put it in with the absolute rat here.
He's trying to sit down.
Yeah, I know he is, but Jack 9853.
Get me sat down, he
just
says.
the one suit which is dead to Pinky's nut suit. And let's see what happens here. Can see it's 3-way now. Thought it was just Pinky. And Phil, graphics weren't up. Thank you, Schlevlem Poker, if I'm saying that correct. Schlevlem.
Big Fish Kyle. Any chance Grosvenor could use a tournament reporter on the scene?
We've got one. Poker News do it for us for all the main events. Poker News are here for the GUKPT main events. They do the coverage. They post hand histories from the outer tables on their website. And then I can't believe you'd even ask about the interviews. Do you not know who this man is sat beside me? Do you not know who the Tower is? He is the interview king. But Poker News do all our reporting on their website for main events. We're going to jump back into this one. Ace
5, 7, 2 hearts.
So this is a huge flop here for Pinky. Flopping the live flush draw, as well as a gut shot and top pair. Offsuit 6 working for Phil, as well as a 5 and some 2 pair outs.
He's on. He's still stood up. Phil's out the hand. He has to remain stood up. Pinky's all in. The 6 on
Finds
the
it.
turn.
Phil finds the offsuit 6.
Wow. Oh, the AB draw for the Pinky 9-10.
Wow.
Oh, yes, baby.
So Pinky, disaster turn, but finds the nut river for him, giving him the 10 eye straight. Nutter butters for him. Scoops a 4K pot, biggest we've had yet. And not only that, gets the £50 bounty from Phil. Phil fires him across the table. Little bullseye for everyone.
And now we're all sat down. Not easy to come across PLO anymore, always fun. You're not wrong. The first time, what were we, about 6 weeks ago, was the first time in the entire world it had ever been done. 6-card PLO. We did the first one in the world ever. Oh, Thierry Henry's in the building. How you doing, Ruben? Lovely to see you, sir. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to have you
Because you're
back.
downstairs all the time now. We never get to see your smiling face.
Only once in a while I pop up.
How's Spain?
Oh, Spain,
amazing.
I think we looked okay. Even though we drew against Germany, I think we looked decent. I don't know. I think there's a good team.
Who do you play in the next round?
No, you mean the next match
Yeah.
tomorrow? Tomorrow we play Japan.
Oh, for the final. See, yeah, you top the group though, don't you?
Yeah, then we're gonna. Well, we should be top of the group.
Yeah.
Then we play whoever Morocco group is in. Which one's that one?
One of the favourites to win it, Ruben. He'll be sat here. In fact, on the grand final day, which is the Sunday the 18th, is the World Cup final. Obviously, Ruben will be sat here with a Spanish flag waving it about. I can see. I already know he'll be here.
I did that in Coventry when we won the World Cup and when we won the Euro.
How is it downstairs?
Yeah, it's okay. Always busy.
Yes.
Always busy.
And are you getting back to the homeland before Christmas?
Two?
Are you going back to Spain before Christmas?
No.
See the family?
I'll go after. I always go after, yeah. I always stay here for Christmas. Flights are too expensive.
They are. Very. No cheap flights anymore.
No, but they're extra expensive.
There's no cheap cheese anymore, let me tell you.
It's not, the only cheap thing is air at the moment. Wait until the government starts taxing us for it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's inflation.
Everything
that's a good one. That was a good one. I got it late, but that's a good one.
Nice to see you, Ruben.
Great, guys. Have fun this week.
Cheers, Ruben. Thank you very much. Ruben, one of the pit bosses downstairs in the main casino itself, used to be up in the card room, but now downstairs in the Victoria Casino in London. Lovely to see him. Maroon Poker, the side bet that was playing was the stand-up game. Everybody stands up until they win a hand. When you win a hand, you sit down. Last man standing gives the rest of the table £50 each. And we only switch to 5-card when seat 9 has the button. It is a 4-5-6 game, but everybody's choosing 6 apart from Ben Roberts in seat number 9, who's choosing 5.
No, you and here got to get out of the way. Unfortunately for us, yeah, we got top and bottom. We are getting bluffed on this occasion, but we just can't continue here with the Queen 8. Rob Adams, how do you work out pot odds and equity in 6-card, especially when the flop's out, but there's only 5 cards left in the dealer's hand? So pot odds would be exactly the same as Hold'em. So if there's 100 in the pot and someone bets 50, you're getting 2 to 1, so you need 33% equity to make it profitable. Regarding equity, it changes slightly because you've got 6 cards in your hand. Let's say, for example, on the turn, so let's say we're on the turn, you've got 6 in your hand, you've got 4 on the board, so you've got 10 cards accounted for. There's 42 left in the deck, so each out is around 2.5%. So basically, for each out, you count 2.5%. So let's say, for example, we had 2 nut flush draws and a clean wrap on a board. We'd have around 23 outs, obviously not accounting for dead cards. So actually, even against the nuts with our 23 clean outs, we'd be favourite to win the hand with our wrap and 2 flush draws. And that's what's so important about this game. So the best advice I can give you for each out, count it as 2.5%. And then, for example, if you've got 10 outs, 25%. If you've got 20 outs, 50%. And that's probably the best way to calculate it. In Hold'em, it's like 2.3% per out. It's only like 0.1% more that it changes, just because obviously you've got an extra 4 cards in your hand. So it's going to bump that equity up a smidge.
And now we've got the button game going as well.
Makes it interesting.
Yeah. I think that must be 150, £25, I do believe. Everybody throws a pony.
Yep.
Whoever's on the button wins. If you win a hand when you're on the button, you win the money that's on the button itself. So as you can see there with Ewan Nicholas.
Big flop for you and Tao here in 5 card cut versus button, top 2 nut flush draw. Want to be putting chips in with this one. And Sakis here just with 1 pair, gammy high spades. Gonna get out of the way, or at least should do.
Do you ever see anybody check raise anymore? With a hand like that Ewan's got.
He can't check raise.
No, if he was in position.
If he was out of position and he filled it, yeah, he could check raise this one for sure. The thing is, like, in 4 card tower, a lot of the check raise bluffs come with, like, on this board would include the bare ace of spades. It's actually really weird. Like when you run the 4 card sims, like a lot of the check raise bluffs, like on the king queen 5 2 spade board, a lot of your bluffs would just contain the bare ace of spades. Like you'd actually have more bluffs with the bare ace of spades on this board than you would with the actual nut flush with 2 spades in your hand, which is actually a very intriguing concept with 4 card. Obviously I don't play a lot of 4 card nowadays, it's more 6 card, but that you should have a lot of check raises, just the same as holding. You just can't check all the time. You need to have some check raises bluffs, you need to have some check raises value. If you're only check raising your value, you're very easy to play against, playing a hand face up.
And obviously the value of the flush draw, now it looks like it's a half lone boy, it looks like we're doing around the 5 card. Obviously the value of a flush draw when it hits is bigger than 5 card. Obviously it's easy to hit with 6 card blah blah blah, and I understand that. But I was just a little bit surprised, even though the board paired, I was a bit surprised that Ewan checked. So he's won the hand, which means he wins the money off the pot, off the book. Oh, he passed. Oh, apologies.
So Rob Adams, interesting question here. You flop the nut straight in 6 card, ace king in your hand, queen of hearts, jack of hearts, 10 of spades, so we have no flush draw. 2 players all in front of you and 1 behind hack. Do you get it all in? Now these are really interesting spots because in this situation we can make the assumption that someone else has ace king, at least 1 player here. So the fact that someone else has ace king and we have ace king in our hand that don't contain a heart, it's quite likely that someone else is going to have ace king with either the ace of hearts or the king of hearts with another heart with it. So in these situations with absolute no redraw, no backdoor, dependent on opponents as well, because if you're playing in like an amazing game where people aren't just going to be getting it in with ace king here, like maybe just get it in with king 9 or king eye flush draw with king 9 or pocket jacks, then yeah, there are situations we can call. But if we're up against 2 opponents that are almost always going to have ace king or pocket queens with the nut hearts, there's situations where we can fold, because I spoke about it earlier, but it's important to note how often the nuts changes on the turn. On the queen jack 10 2 heart board, you got nine hearts in there, assuming there's 2 in someone's hand. You've got 3 queens, 3 jacks, 3 10, so that's 18. So you got 18 outs twice to fade. So probably around 35% of the time your hand's going to stay the nuts by the river as ace king, which is obviously very intriguing to look at. Yes, we got the nuts now, but if we're up against 2 good opponents that aren't going to be getting it in with the Raz, like, we're going to be dogging that pot. Although we have the nuts, in terms of equity, we're actually going to be a dog. So there are situations where you can fold it. However, there are also situations where the SPR small, where there's like a pot size bet behind, where we'd have to get it in that situation. It's when you're deeper, when we can start folding these hands, but when the SPR's lower, is when we still want to be getting it in, because people can just then get it in with bare sets, bare nut flush draws, so on.
I mean, also, unfortunately, I don't know if you can still hear us, guys. Oh no, the pictures, I thought the pictures had stopped.
Yeah, the 5 paired on the turn, Paul Trotter, so obviously there was a boat out there.
Yes, so he folded.
It went check on the river. And then Ewan announced his hand, and I think he mucked. I think that's what happened.
Oh no, Bowie's lost another one. Bowie's lost another. I think.
What's going on here? We good, guys?
I think we've gone.
We have frozen this side.
We've frozen my side as well. The pictures have froze. Well, ask the guys what's happening. I don't know if you can hear us.
Can you hear us, guys?
Can you see us? Yeah, you can see us. If you can see us, as you can see there, the picture's froze.
I'll get PK.
We'll get PK on it. It looks like, if that's happened, everything seems to have frozen. Picture's froze off table, we can still hear. That's good. But if the picture's froze, it might mean we'd have to do a server restart. I'll get confirmation off the guys very shortly. You can hear us, which means to us we think it's still working. Picture's froze, as you can see. As Zach Chester was just in mid-speech. But we will get confirmation off the guys if the clock comes on.
Yeah.
Obviously that means a restart. We don't know why, we don't know what's happened, we don't know why it's paused. We've mid-hand and it looks like it is frozen. Andy Wilson has just lost another all-in, so there's been a double up twice.
We like to hear.
So now the chips will be very close because he'll be, I think it was 10 mil to 3 mil, and now it's going to be like 7 mil to 6 mil. It's hard closing these events out, you know.
It's tough.
It is hard closing. It is hard closing the events out. It really is. It really, really. China Talkers, the theory of Towers treble.
That could take some while.
Theory. I'm up all night. Let me tell you, studying all night.
Do you want me to go find one of the boys?
Yes.
Just because
the card reader's gone down. Everything seems to have gone down. We're still live, which we can see. We will. Jay just gone for certainly find out what's going to be happening, but it does look like that we've, for whatever reason, the server might have crashed. Something, who knows? We'll see what. So anyway, Towers treble. The way we look at it is we look for value, and I don't like to bet anything that's odds on. I don't like to back anything that's 5 to 6, 10 to 11. I look for even money shots and bigger, and I also back most of the teams that are playing well, and look on the last 5 games, see how they're playing. If they're doing all right, stick them in. If they're above even money, anybody can go 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 3 to 1 treble. Don't want that. We don't want that. But football's really weird this week. Obviously the World Cup's on, but then you've got League One. Half of the games are playing tomorrow. On Friday. Half of League Two's playing on Friday, then half of League Two's playing on Saturday, and half of League One's playing on Saturday and Sunday.
Are you actually talking through the theory of the treble?
But no, the football this week. Yeah, absolutely.
I thought you was going through the treble theory.
Yeah. I mean,
got some bad news. Slight technical issue. We're going to need